did to religion. It really hurt it badly. People couldn't go to church for a long period of time.
Well, the breakfast is about to start at the Hilton in Washington. This is the last day for federal workers to accept the president's offer to resign now and be paid through September.
We expect a surge of federal workers, according to the White House, to accept the buyout offer before the midnight deadline. As of yesterday, about 40,000 federal workers had accepted this program out of an approximate 2 million who could be eligible. It is, however, not quite yet the 5 to 10% that the White House estimated would take this deal and resign from their jobs, which, if they were to hit that goal, would save an estimated $100 billion annually.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House as Democrats keep protesting the Department of Government Efficiency's push to trim spending and cut back federal agencies. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley says
Elon Musk wasn't elected or appointed by anyone, and the behavior and the actions that he is taking are unconstitutional and illegal.
Israel is working to get Palestinians to leave Gaza voluntarily as President Trump keeps pushing to have the U.S. take over Gaza and rebuild it, though that's being opposed throughout the Middle East. It is a wintry morning for about 100 million Americans under advisories, with sleet, snow, and ice from the Dakotas to Maine down to Washington, D.C. And on top of that, Fox Weather's Britta Merwin reports.
Tornado watch is now in effect for Kentucky, and we have a flash flood emergency in West Virginia. Charleston locked up in the middle of that. They have high water rescues and a closure on Interstate 64.
Driving is dicey in many areas. Air travel is affected. Nearly 500 flights are canceled, more than 1,000 delayed. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Voicing their displeasure, radar's clear. It's 38 and cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. Opponents of President Trump made their voices heard at the Indiana State House Wednesday. John Herrick reports.
That man who led that particular chorus of chants wanted Indiana lawmakers to stand up against President Trump and his billionaire ally, Elon Musk. Other chants were saying Musk is not elected, while signs that were carried read, "Resistance is never futile," and "We the people reject Project 2025. In downtown Indianapolis, John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Video games may have been the center of a shooting that happened at a home on the northeast side overnight. IMPD says they had to take a man to the hospital after he was shot during an argument over Call of Duty. The man who was shot is now at the hospital. No word on his condition. Developers want to build a new massive data center in Morgan County. It would be built on nearly 400 acres of farmland along State Road 42. Bet Willett tells Wish TV that if developers are allowed to build it, she's putting her house on the market.
I think it's going to affect my property value. I feel like our property tax is going to go up. Our property values are going to go down.
The county's planning commission will consider the proposal in a public meeting on Monday. He may be in prison for life. 51-year-old Caesar Curtis was sentenced to 80 years on Tuesday for the murder of his ex-wife in Muncie. Curtis is said to have beaten his ex, Marcia Curtis, to death with a baseball bat before leaving her body outside an abandoned mobile home in Delaware County back in 2023. The Indiana Pacers are in Los Angeles this evening as they face the Clippers, coming off their loss to Portland 2 nights ago, which is still fresh in the mind of head coach Rick Carlisle.
It's not how you want to play on the road. I mean, you've got to set a tone. You've got to play with attitude.
Carlisle also saying he's not expecting any activity from the Pacers front office, with today being the NBA trade deadline. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Bear.
Southbound 65 still a little bit slow. MLK down to 21st. Outside of that, interstates are looking pretty good right now. Westbound 75 going through the north split. A little bit of a slowdown on that flyover, but nothing that's going to make you late. Crash on the north side, Keystone Avenue, Woodfield Crossing Boulevard, and in Clinton County going north from Lebanon. Northbound 65 stop and go traffic after State Road 28, costing a 39-minute delay right now. Traffic sponsored by the Tile Shop. Pros get more at the Tile Shop. More selection like new wood and vinyl flooring options for every budget, more perks, and more service like free curbside pickup. Start getting more at the Tile Shop. Visit your local showroom today. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
If you built a house, you'd start with a strong foundation, right? Now, if you want to build a financial game plan for retirement, you'd start with Social Security. That's the foundation, and here's why. The decision to file for Social Security could impact your taxes, IRA, and 401k withdrawals, spousal benefits, and even your Medicare premiums. Everything is impacted by Social Security. That's why it's critical you get this right.
Nobody knows Social Security like our guy, Bill Demery, your retirement guy here in Indy. Bill is going to do customized. That's important. Customized Social Security analysis just for you. Everybody's different. He'll customize yours. And it's free. Absolutely free, even if you're not a client. So if you've saved more than $200 grand and have not yet filed for Social Security, call our guy, Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. 317-648-5120. Bill Demery, your retirement guy.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Valentine's Gift Headquarters.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Dense fog advisory until 9 a.m. Watch out for the thick fog here this morning. Partly cloudy this afternoon, a high of 48. Partly cloudy tonight, quiet, colder, a low of 27. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
Nothing on radar. It's cloudy and 38 on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, I think I made a friend yesterday.
It seems like it.
And I think today we should give that new friend the attention she deserves.
Oh, boy.
Look,
what are you talking about, Rob Kendall?
You know the drill around here, Casey. If you're going to be a lippy, Billy badass internet keyboard warrior, we're gonna make sure everybody knows all about you and give you the attention that you clearly crave, but are, I don't want to use phrases like too chicken or cowardly or, hypocritical or disingenuous to show up and say it to our faces. But we'll let the world know all about you. And yesterday, the good mayor of Carmel.
Oh, boy.
Now, I was told she had a rough day yesterday after we started talking about and posting about her. What a train wreck of a performance there in front of the tax committee, where she was basically just boo-hooing in her soup about the idea that you might save 7 cents on your property taxes. And of course, she didn't want to talk about the, $58.5 million taxpayer-funded hotel, or the taxpayer-funded Palladium, or the reflexive pool, or the fake people on the street. She didn't want to talk about any of that. She went to, in the most pathetic, sniveling excuse possible, that, the fire could be, could be in danger if you guys do anything to help my citizens. And so we talked about that, and apparently I was told from somebody, this came from someone who works around her, that she had a bit of a rough day yesterday.
She didn't like hearing about that, huh?
I know all we did was talk about that. We thought it was kind of weird that, you would resort to saying the fire could be cut when you've got a $58.5 million taxpayer-funded hotel that no doubt you could sell that tomorrow, right? And think about how many police or fire that would pay for. She didn't like that, and then finally got to the point where, I don't know, I guess she was driven insane enough that she got lippy on Twitter last night with me.
She's feeling emboldened.
So a little bit, or
she
insane.
wants to tell you you're incorrect.
Well, so we're going to talk a lot today about the city of Carmel, and we're going to talk about the mayor of Carmel, and we're going to talk about the money they're spending and how they're spending it and how much money they have in their accounts. And maybe we'll bring Carl in at one more. Carl lives in Carmel.
Does he?
Knows all about the wasteful spending going on in Carmel. Maybe we'll bring him in. Today's show, in fact, is dedicated to the super lippy mayor of Carmel, and we're going to give her all the attention that she apparently so desperately craves.
So Carl lives in Carmel?
That's right.
Yeah, thumbs up. Are you aware that there's nearly $23 million in combined reserves in the budget? No,
we got a lot of fun facts about Carmel today, and we'll say, but we're not going to do it just yet. We want to give the mayor of Carmel time to know that we're going to talk about her. Maybe one of her assistants or aides, or could let her know. Old Spendin' Sue. We're going to let everybody give a chance to notify Spendin' Sue that, because look, she went to that committee meeting and had every opportunity to say, hey, Yeah, you're right. You know, we've got a $58.5 million taxpayer-funded hotel. We've got the Palladium. We've got the reflexive pool. We got the fake people on the street, the roundabouts, the art in the roundabout. We've got all these things, and we could find somewhere to try to make this work. No, what did she do, Casey? She went to the most the town and city people are the new school people with the human shields.
Yeah.
And the new human shield is we're going to cut the police and we're going to cut the firemen. So we're going to read how much some of the fire people are making. We're going to talk about the financial position of Carmel. We're going to talk about how much they've got in reserves, how much money's in their general fund. We're going to tell you all of these things about Carmel. Maybe a lawmaker will hear it, because if one lawmaker now hears our show and doesn't buy her bull crap, then mission accomplished. So we'll get to that a little bit later in the program. I didn't mean to derail the opening segment. Go ahead. What are we doing?
You don't want to talk about her answer in that committee?
No. I want to wait till
save
let's
it.
wait till 9:30.
Okay.
That way she knows. And by the way, I made the offer. I said, look, if you want to come out from behind your power perch and get off the internet and come in here and talk about the actual financial position of Carmel and how you're spending money, you're more than welcome to do that. That offer has been extended, and maybe by the end of the show today, she'll want to come in and talk about some of these things.
What is there's the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
And he hulks out. What's his name when he's just a normal, level-headed?
Brooke.
Was it David Banner or something like that?
Kev, what's the Incredible Hulk's real name?
Robert Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner.
Bruce
Thank
Banner.
you. Yes,
okay,
that's
yeah.
correct.
So
Thank you.
there are times when you are like Bruce Banner.
That's right.
Just normal, and then there are times when you tend to hulk out just a little bit. And I feel like today my job may be somewhat like Tony Stark to keep you from hulking out completely.
Well, look, these people, you're not going to get lippy with me on social media. That's not going to work out well for you. Does it? How many times have we been through this with these elected people who think they're going to be some Johnny Tough guy on social media because we have the audacity to talk about how they're actually spending other people's money? Because we don't just let you go and put some narrative out there and go, oh, yeah, that seems right. No. See, this is the thing these people have yet to realize. I was an elected person. I know how the system works. I know how it operates. I know how these funds work. I know how money gets allocated. I know to read budgets. And every time one of these lawmakers or mayors or whoever think they're going to be some tough guy with their constituency or act like, oh, well, I'm going to tell him how it's going to be. Has that ever ended well for any of them?
Not so much.
You're dealing with a person with a moderate to severe case of obsessive compulsive disorder. The last thing you want me to do is get fixated on you. And the mayor of Carmel decided instead of just letting it go. Because what did we say yesterday? What did we say yesterday? We said it is ridiculous that you have a $58.5 million taxpayer-funded hotel. You have money for that. But when we're talking about moderate changes to the property tax code, in which we're just saying, look, you can keep all the stuff you've gotten since 2021, all the new construction, all of those things. What we're saying is we're going to reset bills on houses that existed in 2021 and before, and all the new commercials not being touched, rentals are not being touched. The overwhelming majority of property is seeing a moderate at best change, and they can't stand it. They can't stand it because taxes, Casey, to these people are not just about funding the government. It's not about responsible funding of the government. Taxes to these people are about power and about control. And anything that disrupts their power and control, well, they can't have that.
She's very proud of her zero-based budgeting.
Well, we'll talk about all of her budgeting. So what are we doing? What are we doing? What's going on here?
You want to talk about the protesters that gathered outside the State House yesterday? They were opposing Donald Trump and Indiana Republicans and just everything Republican. They called it 50-51. It was supposed to represent 50 states, 50 days, 1 day. It was actually started on Reddit. Grassroots movement.
So wait a second. So these people came yesterday, not because of some specific policy issue. Like they're not weighing in on partisan school board voting or what. They were there because they're mad. They're mad at Donald Trump. And
Elon Musk.
Yeah. And they thought walking in front of the State House in the middle of the day, like what Trump is going to be sitting in the White House and go, oh, man, there's some real nut jobs walking in front of the State House. I guess everything I've done is just It's all wrong.
In Indiana. Isn't that the interesting part is they were protesting in Indiana largely on national things, federal things, Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And at one point I could, hear him saying, yeah, shout it loud so the people inside the State House can hear you. They can't hear that.
And they don't care.
they can't hear it.
And Tony said this yesterday, and he's absolutely right. These are broken people who they don't even know what they're protesting at this point. They're mad because they see the power structure. First of all, they're very uninformed, in many cases uneducated people, have no idea what's actually going on. They get their news from some skewed source, and then they just go, they're looking to be outraged. This is an excuse to vent this. A lot of it's personal outrage, things that they're unhappy in their own existence. And they're marching, but they don't even know what they're marching for. They couldn't tell you. They couldn't tell you anything about Project 2025. They couldn't tell you what it is. They want to be angry. They want somebody to look at them. And this checks a couple of those boxes for them. And they don't care that they look like complete idiots.
Well, they were angry up until it started getting cold and raining. What do we want? Someplace warm. It's not exactly the greatest protest.
Did they all go over to Lockmiller's afterwards and have a cup of soup and a beverage? I mean, this is
one thing that they were chanting is Musk is not elected. Musk is not elected. Musk is not elected. Musk is not elected. Yeah. Do you know how many bureaucrats are in Washington, D.C. that were not elected? And here's a question for you. Did those people vote for Kamala Harris in the primary?
Yeah, right. Great point.
No.
Great point.
They couldn't vote for her either.
I am amazed. I mean, it is an insight into people's existence where you feel compelled. I would say take a day off work, but I'm going to guess some of these people may not have had a work to take off. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe many of them are just fine up. Clearly, you have a job that doesn't care if you disappear in the middle of the day, and you're marching and you're chanting. And Elon Musk was not an elected person. I don't think anybody's presented him as being an elected person.
Right.
And we've talked about on this show the need for guardrails around and transparency about what he has access to and what he's doing. But you're angry that some irresponsible spending is going to be examined.
Right.
You're angry
my friend,
waste, fraud, and abuse is going to be investigated.
My friend Courtney brought this up the other day. She was like, so what? There's a third-party audit? That happens
right.
all the time
right.
among corporations.
Right.
You've got a separate set of eyes looking things over.
Yeah, I'm not sure these people are all the way together, Case. I think I've done a deep dive examining several videos of the protests, and I don't think they're all together. All right, what are we doing next? What's going on?
We've got to talk about that executive order that Donald Trump signed yesterday, making a lot of women and girls happy across the country.
And if you're just tuning in, it's Dump on the Mayor of Carmel Day. She wanted to be a real tough guy on social media, and so we're going to give her the attention she deserves today.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
The administration is taking shape.
I, Marco Rubio. I, Marco Rubio.
Y un gran honor y le doy las gracias al presidente Trump. I just said I saved a bunch of money by switching to Geico. That's what I said. So.
Hearings and votes continue.
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine.
Confirmations are underway.
The vice president votes in the affirmative, and the nomination is confirmed.
Follow the first 100 days on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
The holidays are over, and the new year is here, making it the perfect time to think about the future. More specifically, it's the perfect time to think about your financial future. Right now, Howard Bailey Financial is offering a free retirement toolkit, a comprehensive guide designed to help you plan, save, and jumpstart the retirement you deserve. To get your free copy today, text FUTURE to 888-262-1104 and download your free retirement toolkit. Start 2025 off with a gift to yourself, filled with all the tools you need to plan for a positive and purpose-filled future. Just text FUTURE to 888-262-1104 to start planning today. Make this new year your year to invest in yourself and secure a brighter tomorrow, starting today. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Take a little time to show some love this Valentine's Day with a gift from Cynthia's Hallmark. Cynthia's is Cupid ready and gift ideas for all ages. Cynthia's in Greenfield carries the most popular jewelry line in the country. Gorgeous E. Newton jewelry. Swim, sweat, shower in it for worry-free wear. And I love the festive 7.5-inch ceramic Valentine tree that lights up with pink and red hearts, or the Candy Conversation Hearts tree. Fun decorations, and both feature a 4-hour timer. Lots of plush, and the hottest plush on the market, Jellycat. If you're sending a card through the mail, the fresh cut paper flower bouquets are popular again this year. A full dozen red roses with a sprinkling of baby's breath for just $12.99. And right now, get a free 3-pair set of super soft, adorable Valentine cozy socks with any purchase of $25 or more with a coupon, and it's while supplies last. Shop locally owned Cynthia's Hallmark for the biggest selection of Valentine's Day gifts. 116th and Allisonville Road, 96th and Lantern Road, 116th and Brook School Road, and in Greenfield.
Health gives you the ability to love more, feel more, be more. Health gives you the ability to live an extraordinary life. Because every day, no matter the challenges, is a chance to breathe, laugh until your belly aches, cry because you care so much, and experience everything that makes your life truly extraordinary. For 150 years, Franciscan Health has been there, watching extraordinary lives unfold. Love your extraordinary life.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go: shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms: irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Morton Building's annual Building Value Day sales event is here and now through the month of February. Morton buildings are built stronger, last longer, and look better. Whether you need a garage, farm shop, stall barn, or storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, now's the time to save on new buildings. Visit MortonBuildings.com to learn more and save on select new buildings that will stand the test of time. From Morton Buildings. Certain restrictions apply. See your local construction center for details.
Are you still thinking about what to get her this Valentine's Day? Make that special gift last forever and surprise her with a gift from Pierce Jewelers. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
So yesterday, appropriate too. Yesterday, Donald Trump signed the No Men in Women's Sports Executive Order that prohibits men from competing in female sports. He claimed the executive order ends the war on women's sports, and he criticized what he described as a campaign by the radical left to erase biological sex in favor of transgender ideology.
Isn't it crazy, though? So Kev, because he's on the ball, comes in with a little Lola from the Kinks, which is a song about a man pretending to be a woman in this nightclub interaction that this guy has with this man pretending to be a woman. I almost said freak show. That would have been very mean of me. But the closing line of that song, because people used to look at these people and point at them and laugh because this is why it's a mental disorder. Being a man and thinking you're a woman is a mental disorder. You shouldn't be placated. You shouldn't be told it's okay. You shouldn't be told it's normal. We've talked about the same way that I have obsessive compulsive disorder. Mm-hmm. I've never expected anybody to go, it's normal to check your garage door 3 times or, sit in the driveway and stare at it and make sure it stays down. It's not normal. People need to learn how to deal with these things, and I've managed throughout most of my life in an effective way to deal with the disorder. It's why it's called that. Same thing here. And at the end of the line at the end of that song, because the song is a laugh at, a humorous look at how ridiculous it is of men who pretend to be women. And the closing line is, I'm not the world's most masculine man, but I know what I am, and I'm glad I'm a man, and so is Lola, right? Like, I'm glad I'm this. You are not, you are the same as me. You are not this thing
that you pretend to be, that you lie to be.
Exactly. You are lying to yourself. You're lying to humanity. I'm not doubting that there's a very, 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 very small fraction of the populace that has this disorder, gender dysphoria or whatever it's called, who actually believe this. But it's not okay. It's not normal. We shouldn't pat you on the back and go, there, and placate this. You know, I was watching something the other day from Saturday Night Live in the 70s where the whole skit was, you know, that legendary cast. They're making fun of people who pretend or think they are this. And yet, especially over the last 5 or 6 years, we have seen in this country leaders, politicians, commentators, celebrities endorse and embrace this as though you think as a man, you know, wanting to be a woman or pretending to be a woman is normal. It is not.
Yeah, it takes away the value of what a woman is. And the timing of the executive order coincided with the 39th annual National Girls and Women's Day in Sports, which celebrates female athletes. The order directs the Education Department to roll back the Biden-era guidance on Title IX, which required schools to allow trans students to participate in sports and use facilities based on gender identity rather than their assigned identity or sex at birth. But before signing the executive order to ban men from women's sports, Trump listed a bunch of sports victories that women were robbed of. And this was a great moment, and I was so excited for her. He gave an epic shout out to Riley Gaines before signing the order. And, you know, we had Riley on the show back in April of 2023. She has been hammering away at this for years. And here is Donald Trump acknowledging that.
We're honored to be joined today by many incredible advocates for women's sports, including the brave swimmer at the forefront of this battle. And Riley Gaines is a person that I've been watching. She fought hard. Riley was a 12-time All-American. Well, that's pretty good. 12-time All-American who sacrificed countless hours in the pool just for a chance at the title. It's so important to her. She gave up everything and just gave everything she had. But then...
And it was taken from her. She practiced for so long, perfected it, and then it was just robbed from her. And the question is, when did protecting women suddenly become a controversial political topic?
I don't mean to distract from the importance of this conversation. Trump does this all the time, and he's so good at entertaining. I don't know if he's doing it deliberately or it's just like his accident that, you know, some sort of tick or whatever that he has, where he'll be like reading something off of a piece of paper and then
it like sinks in. That's really good.
She's a 12-time All-American. Oh, that's really good. Like you do wonder, is it just like he hasn't seen the thing and they're like, here, read this, and it's just stream of consciousness as he's reading it, or is it actually registering to him and it's just something? I mean, it's hilariously brilliant either way. I don't even care what it is. That is just the best part of any Trump anything. But the point of all this is, look, if you have a penis, play sports with other people who have penises. If you don't have a penis, play sports with people who don't have penises. Like this is not that hard. And up until about 5 or 6 years ago, this seemed to be a pretty mainstream societal thing, and now it's some sort of battle.
Well, what it shows you is that Democrats completely failed women and girls on a very clear issue of women's sports being for females only, and the timing of it was great because there was also that lawsuit that was filed by those 3 UPenn swimmers. They filed against the Ivy League, Harvard, and the NCAA, which is right down the road. We hope you hear us loud and clear. And, you know, one last thing that I want to just mention about that, he had all of those young girls and women around him when he was signing that executive order. And he said with this executive order, the war on women's sports is over. And then he asked all of those people, all of those women and girls to gather around him, and he was passing out pens to all of them, and he did look for Riley. He recognized her right away, which shows you that he knows who Riley Gaines is, but there was not a single sniff, not a single inappropriate action. It looked wholesome, and it was a fantastic picture. And as someone who played sports since they were 7 years old and has a daughter who played sports since she was 5 all the way through high school, I was so excited for yesterday, and I just absolutely love that Donald Trump did that.
All right, so when we come back, the other day at that Senate Bill 1 hearing, the mayor of Carmel took a giant crap all over the taxpayers. So when we come back, we're going to return the favor. But before that, you know who's a man, and a manly man, and the sort of man we should all want to be.
A man who would protect women in sports.
He would protect humanity as a collective.
Kurt Darling, he's up next with the news on 93 WIBC.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. The best dealers in the region will be at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Standing by his vision, radar is clear. It's 37 and cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. President Trump is doubling down on his proposal for the U.S. to take over the Gaza Strip while saying no American soldiers will be needed. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said the takeover would see Palestinians resettle in far safer communities with new modern homes in the region. He added that the U.S. is working with development teams from around the world to start rebuilding in the process. The job market appears to be holding up so far this year. Fox's Jenny Casola.
There was little change in the number of people signing up for unemployment benefits last week. New claims rose by 11,000 to 219,000. Economists were predicting 213,000. Continuing claims, those remaining on benefits, rose to 1.88 million. Outplacement firm Challenger Gray & Christmas is reporting job cuts down 40% in January from a year ago, but it doesn't see the trend holding because some companies have already announced job cuts in February. Ginny Coselda, Fox News.
Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. A good start to the day. The Dow was up 104 points to 45,108. The NASDAQ is up 7 to 21,772. And the S&P 500 is up 18 to 6,104. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Do you have an idea for a book? Fiction, nonfiction, or a children's book? We can help you put it together and bring it to market at Dorrance Publishing. We have thousands of testimonials from people just like you that we've helped get their books sold in stores and online. We've even got a service called The Writer's Coach. It's perfect for people that have a book idea in their head and they just need someone to help them put it on paper. Dorrance Book Publishing has been helping people just like you who have a book idea, written or not, for over 100 years. Imagine being counted among the most famous authors in the world with your very own book. Call right now and let us help you turn a book idea into reality. It's easier than you think. You just need a little help. Call us now.
800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. That's 800-879-4098.
Why not start 2025 with a great new deal from Tom Roush Lincoln? Select 2024 Lincoln Navigators, now $12,000 off, and get 0% for 72 months. How about an all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus, now $6,000 off with rates starting at 4.9% for 60 months. So start the new year with a new car from Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Lincoln Navigator MSRP 104,825. Lincoln Nautilus MSRP 61,695. Offers good Good through February 28, 2025. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
It's time to throw out your overpriced big wireless contract. Throw it overboard. You can get an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for $0 with a qualifying plan of just $45 a month. Get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 25 gigs of data, mobile hotspot. You get all of it. So get your new iPhone 14 or Samsung Galaxy for $0. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk, pound 250, keyword Pure Talk from Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
Jewelry Gram, it's your friends at Shane Company here to remind you that Valentine's Day is Friday, February 14th. It's the most romantic day of the year to give and get fine jewelry. We have expertly crafted gifts for every type of sweetheart. For the one, we'll help you propose with the dream engagement ring. Come see our wide selection of hand-picked natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes, in stock and ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Or maybe you'll fall in love with a natural, colorful gemstone. At Shane Company, we're known for our sapphires in every color of the rainbow. We have options for every style and budget. Get creative and design a custom necklace with meaningful charms, including 14-karat gold letters, engravable hearts, and birthstones. Our mother-of-pearl heart-shaped collection makes a perfect gift that's ready to give. At Shane Company, love is always in the air with our unmatched free lifetime warranty, everyday competitive prices, and no-pressure shopping experience. Come see us in-store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
You know, Casey, there's a famous line in the movie Caddyshack where Judge Smales is talking about sending children to the gas chamber. And he goes, didn't want to do it. Felt I owed it to them.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to do this next segment, but after yesterday and last evening, I feel we owe this to the mayor of Carmel because she really, really, really doesn't want you to get help with your property taxes. And in that Senate Bill 1 hearing, she came off as a complete, insensitive, unempathetic person who basically just believes you exist to pay for whatever government she decides is necessary.
Well, she was asked directly what she thought was appropriate as far as property tax relief goes, and here is her answer.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for being here, Campbell. Thanks for your testimony, too. I guess just a simple question to both of you. What is an acceptable property tax reform? What cuts could you take?
That's a hypothetical, Senator, that I haven't quite looked at yet because this is early in the process. Again, we will be as responsible as we can with wherever this ends at the end of the year or end of the session. But clearly it's going to have broad reach impacts all across the city.
So you haven't even thought about it. You've known. I mean, the governor of your own party campaigned on this for 6 months.
Right.
So this is my signature issue.
And then he won.
You haven't given any thought. I mean, he did the State of the State. It was all about this. You haven't put one iota. Old Spendin' Sue Finkham hasn't put one iota of thought into like what reforms. Here's an idea, and we'll start here. It's $58.5 million. It's a hotel paid for. By the way, Carl is here. Carmel Carl, who is also Tony Katz, very fabulous pretty, because you live in Carmel, right?
Yes, and I'm proud to live there. It's a nice city to live in.
That's fine, but
it's beautiful.
But I'm not wrong talking about all this crap that's in there, right?
No, I mean we pay property taxes too.
Yeah. All right, so
she said it's early in the process.
But it's not.
Even though
the process is in the middle of happening.
Although Mike Braun did come on this very show and give us his property tax reform ideas. And then he campaigned on it. And then he won. And then he said it was going to be a priority. And then in the State of the State address, it was his priority. And then she answered by saying it was early in the process. And then
real quick, Casey, I want to point out Carl sent us. It looks like it's like a collage that should be in the Smithsonian or some fine art institute. Just a collage of just wasteful crap that Carmel spends money on. There's nothing to do with police or fire or roads or bridges or sidewalks.
Which she says is the number one priority of Carmel.
And this is the thing, Casey. I'm not going to let these people going forward say that, it's the new human shield. The schools have been the worst at this for decades now, and now it's the city and town people where anytime you ask them to do anything remotely responsible for you, they resort to, the police. oh, the firemen, they could all be in such mortal danger if you get any relief whatsoever. So we're going to spend part of our show today talking about like actual numbers for the city of Carmel. So Casey has taken now she did this on the company dime. She printed out in color the entire budget presentation.
Was last night at midnight reviewing this company time as well.
So what like you've got the budget presentation there, right, for the city of Carmel?
I do. I have the city of Carmel but yeah, it's the budget.
What was the actual budget for the city of Carmel last year? Do you have that in front of you?
Well, it was 234.8
million, not dollars. $234.8 million with an M. Million.
Yeah. Yeah, and okay, so she says that safety is priority in Carmel. Their two biggest expenses are
the reserves currently for the city of Carmel.
Okay, and here's the thing. With almost $23 million in combined reserves, they have sufficient resources to weather any future economic downturns.
This was her budget presentation.
Her budget presentation says they have $23 million in reserves.
In reserves?
And
$23 million.
Yeah, it's combined reserves. They have 14.6 in the rainy day fund.
Oh! So, okay, so let's...
And the rainy day fund is designed to, quote, weather any future economic downturns.
And let's point out what Carmel does. And Carl, you'll back me up on this. Because Carmel ruined this for everybody else in the state who was doing this responsibly. This is how egregious they were with how they were managing these tax increment finance districts. Carmel takes little pockets of the city, and what they say is, we want this bright, shiny object, whether it's a taxpayer-funded hotel or the Palladium or whatever. And we know there's no way, given the bonding capacity of even a wasteful, excessive place like Carmel, that we could pay for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this little pocket, and all the revenue from commercial development that comes in this little pocket or rentals, 2% or 3%, is going to stay in this pocket, which then we're not going to use for anything other than to build and facilitate this grandiose, excessive thing. And then we're going to deny all the other taxing entities, ourselves included in our general fund, which pay the police and fire. We're going to deny the ability of that money to go through. But then we're going to come to the State House, even though we've created all of these little pockets that do nothing other than benefit this bright, shiny object thing that we want, that is not a road, it's not a bridge, it's not a fire, it's not a police, it's not a water, it's not a sewer. It's excess. And then we're going to go to the state and we're going to say, oh, if you help residents with their property taxes, ooh, I'm going to have to axe the police and the firemen. Ooh, that's disgusting. They know exactly what they're doing.
We know how much revenue that Carmel has received from property taxes in the past 2 years, at least. Last year, it was $47,551,435.
But that's important to point out that it's none of these. That does not include any of these. It's probably billions of dollars in assessed value from these pockets they've created in these tax increment finance districts. That's just, for the most part, residential. It's just homes or apartments that may not happen to be in these tax increment finance districts. For the most part in Carmel, a ton of their commercial development sits in these little pockets that they've carved out where they're starving themselves and the school corporation and the counties and everybody else of revenue so they can have these things you were pointing out, Carl. They're running ads on television. That's how much money they have.
Yeah, so I was surprised to see our Monon Recreational Center being advertised on Fox 59. I'm like, this is like a public park. Like, why are they advertising on TV? This is just for the residents of people of Carmel, not for the entire Indianapolis metro area.
So they have so much money that they can, and you were pointing out the bison and these flowers and these things in the roundabouts. It's one thing to have a roundabout. We can debate the merits of those. But how much money do they spend on this artwork and crap that they throw up in the middle of these roundabouts?
Well, I think it's like with any big entity with the budget. If they have it, they're going to spend it.
Yes.
And so they've grown used to spending these budgets no matter what.
And bingo. And remember, that's what Chad Ellis, that White River Township trustee, told us the other day from Gibson County. He said it doesn't matter how much money you give these people. They will spend this money. And look, that's fine. Carmel can do what Carmel wants to do. But when you go to the Indiana State House and you give some sob story that is complete crap on how you're going to fire police and firemen if I get a couple $100 in property tax relief, now you're coming for my money, lady. Now you're coming for my money, and I'm going to pick apart your little false narrative that you're throwing out to people that you're some. By the way, let's talk about some of the salaries for people in Carmel, shall we?
Sure.
Because this was this might have been our Indy reporter buddy who put this up.
It was.
So these are just the fire people, and we'll read some of these other ones. But okay. By the way, they're Parks and Director of Parks and Recs, according to this document. Want to take a guess how much the Parks and Rec director makes in Carmel, Casey?
Well, I saw the list of some of the other employees. I'm going to guess it's $190,000.
$197,511. And by the way, this guy who's the Parks and Rec director,
yeah,
he was on the Brownsburg Parks Board at one point. I know how he handles parks. It ain't worth $197,000. I want to take a guess on what the fire captain makes in Carmel. Now, keep in mind, we're being told that rank and file firemen could lose their jobs if you get property tax reform. Want to take a guess on what the fire captain, according to this document, makes in Carmel?
Well, I've got it in front of me, but I'm going to go with the lowest paid one that was on the list, and that was $184,000.
No,
Just Price is Right rules,
yeah,
I don't go over.
Carl, you want to guess how much you're paying the fire captain in Carmel?
200?
You're a little high. $196,937. Okay, I guess there's another fire captain. I guess there's two fire captains. He makes basically about the same, $196,500. There's a fire training captain. I don't know what the difference is there. $196,595. There's what is this? First class master firefighter. $191,581. There's a fire lieutenant, $191,107. There's another fire lieutenant, $190,600. Another fire lieutenant, $186,657. A fire engineer, $184,056. They always do. It's almost like the same argument. I know we got to get to a break, but it's almost like the same argument that these administrators make during referendums, like, oh, if you don't pass this school referendum, we're going to have to fire these teachers. When you've got administrators who are making $250,000 a year. It's the same thing. Don't tell me when you got people making this amount of money at the top of the pay scale that your rank and file fireman could be in some sort of trouble. Yes, Carl.
If I may add, compared to the city of Indianapolis, I would imagine that the fire people in Carmel don't have as much stress as the people of Indy, nor the police.
This was always the argument, because they always used to do this with me when I was an elected person. They'd come and the argument wouldn't go anywhere about raising budgets or salaries beyond what was reasonable. And then they'd go, well, if you don't do this, they could go somewhere else. And my argument was always, where? What, they're going to go to Indianapolis? They're going to go work for IMPD? No, people leave IMPD or they leave the Indianapolis Fire to get a better, more relaxed position. So we're going to do this throughout the day today, because various people tune in at various times. And we didn't start this fight, by the way. The lippy mayor of Carmel, Spendin' Sue Finkham, decided she wanted to get mouthy last night on Twitter because we had the audacity to talk about some of their expenditures. So I said, okay, lady, you want to talk about expenditures. We're going to do a deep dive into the city of Carmel. And then I want you going forward with a straight face after we reveal all these numbers throughout the show today to say, I don't think there's anywhere we can cut, and I don't think you deserve property tax relief.
So coming up when we talk about this again, we'll review the estimated revenue that Carmel will be receiving for property taxes for 2025.
And that'll be next hour.
Yeah.
All right.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show back at it on a Thursday, 3:06. The biggest stories of the day. Rob Kendall, he's going to flip out, go off the rails. We're talking property taxes and more 93 WIBC.
Attention Indianapolis Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one who lives with you. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care, helping you with preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more. A family member or friend that gets paid instantly. It's all through Medicaid, and as an Indianapolis resident, it's 100% free to you. New to Medicaid? The Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 7,000 five-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. If you live in the Indianapolis area, this service is free to you through Medicaid, and with our InstaPay app, caregivers can choose to get paid instantly. So go to freedomcare.com or call 463-232-7342, 463-232-7342, 463-232-7342.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Life-changing discovery should never be left to chance. IU Indianapolis is Indiana's premier urban research university, home to 50 research centers and institutes, which means our students don't just study groundbreaking research, they make their very own breakthroughs from day one. We're here to make the future happen. Bring on tomorrow. IU Indianapolis. Discover what's next at go.iu.edu/breakthrough.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today. Today.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Check out what's going on with 93 WIBC.
Listen to Hammer and Nigel Monday through Friday this week for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Sebastian Maniscalco Sunday, February 16th at Gamebridge Fieldhouse.
More info online at WIBC.com.
And you're going too far, 'cause you know it don't matter anyway.
Money, 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 money. So Mitch McConnell could have a new theme song. It could be Chumbawamba. I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Okay, so is this video current or not?
I believe it's an old video.
That's what I was going to say. It looks like he's running for public office, but it's still hilarious.
Yeah, you're talking about the one where he's trying to get up on a podium and he falls down and he trips. I think we have the audio from it. Kevin, number 13, if you've got that. He looked like he was trying to do a cartwheel up to the stage there.
So I don't know why things like this, like they're not a mega deal in the moment, and then years later it'll surface.
Mm-hmm.
My wife pointed out the way that it's like zoomed in on him and then out and then in.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like there was a great show in the early 2000s called Arrested Development, and when the characters were doing something wacky, that is how the camera, it looks
Would
like
zoom in.
for like a far shot of something, there was something happening like out in the wide open. It looks like the camera work from Arrested Development. And in a weird way, Mitch McConnell is like an arrested. You could have put him on that show.
A character.
Some politician who freezes up and can't speak in times of crisis or whatever. He would have been perfect for that show.
George Bluth.
That's right. That's right. He's George Bluth, who was what Jeffrey Tambor played. Is that right? Jeffrey Tambor was the main character on that. I mean, it's just, these people are utterly ridiculous, and it doesn't matter whether it was yesterday or 4 years ago. These people need to go home.
So you're talking about when in 23, when McConnell, he had that episode where he appeared to freeze up, including 19 seconds during a press conference. And then he was hospitalized for a concussion when he tripped at a hotel, fractured his shoulder in 2019 after a fall at home. And then just yesterday, he tripped on the stairs of the Senate, and he was using a wheelchair afterwards. Of course, his office stated that he's fine.
He's not fine.
He's not fine. And where is his family? And why are they not saying, it's time to quit?
But I hate to come off as being insensitive. I hope physically he is okay. But it's no different than us pointing out that 983-year-old woman in the state Senate. What's her name?
The Indiana State Senate.
Sue Glick.
Glick,
What is it with people named Sue in Indiana being crappy at government jobs? Like Sue Finkham, Sue Glick, Sue Crouch. I mean, all the this is a bad name if you want to be in government. Go home. Stop lording over me. As Eminem said, you're too old. Let go. It's over.
Yeah. Take care of yourself.
They can't even take care of themselves.
Right. Stop trying to take care of me. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Nikki Kelly from Indiana Capital Chronicle is going to join us next.
When you're running a small business, every dollar counts. And there's lots of ways you could try saving money, like, say, subletting half your office to an exotic pet shop, or downsizing your fleet of catering trucks to a fleet of catering scooters. Or you could try a smarter way to save. Switch to Comcast Business Mobile. It could save you up to 70% on business wireless compared to AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, and save you the hassle of having a parrot as your desk mate. So don't compromise your business to save money. Keep it growing with Comcast Business Mobile, an incredible value and smarter way to save. Comcast Business Mobile, powering smarter savings, powering possibilities.
Restrictions apply. Compares weighted average of providers based on optimized pricing. Comcast Business Internet required. Reduced speeds after data usage included with plan. Savings may vary.
Don Fisher here for QC Kinetics. I want to share with you the best thing I've done for my knee pain. I've been hearing commercials about the groundbreaking treatments that QC Kinetics offers for months. Meantime, my chronic knee pain had hit an all-time high threshold. I wanted to stay active and enjoy playing golf again without the pain. So I decided to call and book an appointment. And what I found out was that QC Kinetics is the non-surgical solution. I have no knee pain and feel like I did 10 years ago. And it's all because of the non-invasive therapy from QC Kinetics.
Discover the solution to joint pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. For a free consultation, call 463-282-6886.
I'm back to playing golf and enjoying life. Take it from me, this is the best call you can make to relieve your orthopedic pain.
For your free consultation, call QC Kinetics today. 463-282-6886. 463-282-6886.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Garage Floor Coatings. If your garage floor looks bad with stains, cracks, and pits, it makes your entire garage look bad. And a bad epoxy job or chipping paint makes your garage or basement look worse. With one quick call to 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, I can save you $1,000 on a new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor during our winter sale. A Comer & Cross concrete floor coating is the gold standard. Guaranteed. A Comer & Cross garage floor won't chip, crack, or show tire lift like epoxy or paint ever. What's the Comer and Cross difference? We make it so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We fix the cracks and pits perfectly. In one day, you will love your gleaming, new Comer and Cross garage floor or basement floor just in time for spring. Call us right now for $1,000 in savings during our winter sale. Operators are standing by now at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, they were anti-Trump and on the steps of the Indiana State House on Wednesday. Plus, why your senator is voting to confirm this person for a job that he finds redundant. And this women's basketball team is making a lot of noise. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
An announcement at the National Prayer Breakfast. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
I will be creating a brand new presidential commission on religious liberty. It's going to be a very big deal, which will work tirelessly to uphold this most fundamental right.
President Trump also just said he'll sign an executive order today to set up a task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias.
The first 2 weeks have been probably, they say, the most successful 2 weeks in the history of any presidency.
Of course, Democrats disagree. More on that in a moment. Before the prayer breakfast, the president addressed lawmakers at the Capitol.
We have to make the most out of every single day that we have.
Referencing last week's mid-air collision when 67 people were killed when an Army helicopter crashed into an American Airlines regional plane about to land at Reagan National Airport.
They were understaffed for whatever reason. I guess the helicopter was high, and we'll find out exactly what happened.
Now, today, a U.S. military contracted plane crashed into a rice field in the Philippines, killing all 4 people on board. The deadline's tonight for federal workers to accept the president's buyout offer to resign. Fox's Jackie Heinrich reports from the White House.
And the 40,000 who have accepted so far is short of the 5 to 10% of the workforce that the White House expected to quit. There are reports that Doge associates are urging people to take this 8-month paid vacation and also detailing possible layoffs if they choose instead to stay. Meantime, Democrats are demanding that President Trump fire Elon Musk, calling him an unelected bureaucrat with unchecked power.
Of course, Musk runs the new Department of Government Efficiency, working to cut back at federal agencies. And Fox's Chad Perkin reports from Capitol Hill.
Democrats kept the Senate in session all night to protest Doge, Elon Musk, and the nomination of Russ Vought as budget director. Democrats believe Musk and Vought would interfere with the constitutional authority of Congress to control the purse strings.
America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Protesting the president. It's cloudy and 37 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling for Window Nation. Here's what's trending at 10:02. People who say that they are anti-Trump protested at the Indiana State House Wednesday. John Herrick reports.
What you're hearing them chant there is Musk is not elected, referring to billionaire and director of the U.S. Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk. Other signs were held up that said, "This Musk stop." Despite the rain and the bad weather, about 400 people were at the protest. It was part of the 5051 movement, which means 50 protests, 50 states, one day. In downtown Indianapolis, John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
It was an argument over Call of Duty. At least that's what police say may have led to a shooting on the northeast side overnight. Police say that they were sent to a home and found a man with a gunshot wound, so they took him to the hospital. The video game was on in the background when the cops got there. Indiana Senator Jim Banks says that he's backing Tulsi Gabbard to be the next director of national intelligence, but he tells WIBC's Tony Katz.
I question whether or not we should even have a
D&I. It's become a large blob of bureaucracy that I don't know that we even need, and I told Tulsi this when I met her, but in the meantime, she's going to clean it up.
Her confirmation is now in the hands of the full Senate. The mother of a Make-A-Wish Foundation girl is being charged with fraud and neglect. Catherine Jackson of Decatur, up in northern Indiana, is accused of lying about the girl's medical condition. Jackson's daughter has a disease called Pilewarski-Bjornsen syndrome, or PBS, but doctors say that it's chronic and not a terminal illness. Take notice of the Ball State women. The Cardinals remain undefeated in MAC play as they beat Bowling Green last night 71-51. Head coach Brady Sally.
We were locked in and made them pretty one-dimensional. So it's a good win. Now we got to get ready for a big game, and we're excited about the opportunity for sure against James Madison.
James Madison, a rare non-conference game at this point in the season for the Cards, who are 19-4 overall so far on the year. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
It's Hammer and Nigel for Window Nation. February is a short month, and if you haven't looked at your calendar yet, it ends on February 28th, which, coincidentally, is the last day that you can save 60% off all window styles from Window Nation. Plus, you can get 0 interest with no payments for 2 years. But now only through the end of February. That's less than 28 days to save big on some of the best windows you could buy. Less than 28 days to get windows that will protect your home and family for decades. Less than 28 days to get a quote on the windows that are going to stop the drafts and leaks and save you money on utility bills every month.
This February, you could miss Groundhog's Day and maybe even Valentine's Day. But do not miss your chance to save 60% off all windows and pay nothing for 2 years only from Window Nation. Schedule that free in-home consultation right now by calling 866-90-NATION or visiting windownation.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. As you know, the legislative session in full swing. A lot of moving parts to get you up to date on what's going on. Let's go to one of the best in the business. Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle joins us now. All right, Nikki, so there was this bill that got heard on the Senate side. It made it out of committee, which would limit early voting from basically 28 days down to about 2 weeks. There was a lot of pushback. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I think a lot of voting advocates feel that our early voting, period, which is currently 28 days, so this would cut it in half, is one of, a positive thing about our system, and they don't really understand why suddenly we want to reduce it in half when people are taking advantage of it.
So there's always the political reason with things like this, or the reason. In this case, I think it is somewhat political, but then there's the reason they give. So what reason did the lawmakers give?
The reason they give is that some counties are having trouble staffing the early voting hours.
Is that legit?
I'm sure for a couple of them there might be. They also say that not very many people use the first 14 days. But again, I mean, we saw here in central Indiana people using the first 14 days so much that the lines were 2 hours. So, there's definitely some disconnect there.
Well, and this is one of the problems, right? Because during a presidential year, obviously it's off the charts. You know as well as I do, during these municipal elections, you can be there all day and see 10 people roll through. There's got to be some sort of balancing act.
Sure. And I know that they have fewer of them in municipal elections than they do in presidential elections. They obviously ramp up for that. But, I mean, the fact is that we have pretty tight voting rules. One of them, we have to have these sort of reasons to vote by mail. And I know that for sure when we let those off in 2020 because of the pandemic, when reporters would ask lawmakers again and again, like, how come we can't open up vote by mail more? They would say, well, you have a full month to vote under early voting. And now they want to take half of that away.
Well, and this is, you know me pretty well. This is one of my biggest problems with these people is I feel like they just make it up as they go along, and whatever box
I'm not even necessarily saying I disagree with their opinion to do this. My point is, though, I feel like they always just, whatever thing they want to do, they'll figure out how to fit it in the box. And like you said, this is in direct contrast to something they were telling you guys just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, indefinitely. I mean, and there might be a few counties that do have trouble staffing it. Although, early voting, you don't have to have 5 locations. You can just have the courthouse where your employees work, So
Nikki Kelly's our guest. The other major voting change. Okay, so first of all, let me go back to that real quick. It obviously cleared out of committee. That's like step 1 of 7 in terms of getting a bill signed into law. Do you think it's going to clear the Senate? Do you think it will even get traction or a hearing or traction in the House? Where do you think this will go from here?
I really don't know on this one. It kind of came up out of nowhere when Diego Morales ran for Secretary of State. He said something about how he wanted to reduce it and then immediately walked that back. And so, this one is kind of coming out of nowhere, and I think people are still seeing where they stand.
The other bill that made it out of this committee, Nikki Kelly, our guest from the Capitol Chronicle, which would change voting, is we would now go to a closed primary system. Give us all the details.
Yeah, I mean, basically right now you can walk in, and in the primary you can ask for a Republican ballot or a Democrat ballot. And now this would basically close that down a bit, and you would have to register as a party specifically. And, Republicans say this is about, making sure that only their voters vote in those primaries. Indiana has a lot of independents. Indiana also has a lot of areas where all the decisions are made in the primary.
Right.
So people sometimes will cross ballots so that they can have a say in their local politics. I spoke with a couple former state chairmen about this bill earlier this session, and they both said, they didn't really get the purpose of it. They think that it's going to be extremely chaotic for a few years and then end us up basically in the same place. And so, because right now the way the bill reads, it's going to automatically place you in whatever last partisan ballot you pooled. And so let's say that year there was a really great sheriff's race in your area, and even though you're not a Democrat normally, you pulled the Democrat ballot to vote in the sheriff's race. And so people won't know until they show up what they are. And if you didn't vote, a different way, if you just pulled school vote. Anyway, it's very chaotic because there's like this 118-day period or something before the primary where you wouldn't be able to switch. And so that's even worse than like your filing deadline or your registering deadline.
Well, and this is a great point, right? Because the Republicans always say, we want to be a big tent. We want to expand the party. And then they do these things that are, again, it's the hypocrisy, right? They make things fit in whatever box they want. They say these things, and then they do the thing that would make it harder for people to actually vote in their primary, but they claim they want more people to be a part of the party.
Yeah, I mean, our voting is abysmal, and all the bills they're moving will actually reduce turnout, which is pretty interesting.
Was this some sort of response because there was a Democrat-led group during the governor's race? Now, obviously it didn't work because he didn't do very well, but we're doing billboards and everything else telling Democrats, go vote for Brad Chambers in the Republican primaries. Is this some sort of response to that?
Yeah, that group is technically bipartisan. They have equal Republican and Democrat board members. But regardless, yes, they put up billboards. They're called Recenter, and the idea is they're trying to get rid of people on the extreme edges of both parties. And they put up billboards saying, hey, Democrats, you're allowed to pull a Republican ballot. And I know at least in one case down south it caused a little bit of a kerfuffle with someone challenging a voter. But, I don't remember us doing this law when Rush Limbaugh did, Operation Chaos. So, again, it's just another example of trying to clamp down. And, if they would offer up, I would love to see things in which they think they're opening up and trying to encourage voting, but I don't see any of those items.
You guys have dug into this in the past. Do you have a reason on, and by the way, to come back to this partisan primary voting law, you know, Mike Braun told us when he was running for Senate, so this would have been all the way back in 2018, because he had voted in several Democrat primaries. He said the same thing, and now he's the Republican governor, was a Republican senator. He goes, I didn't have any Republicans to vote for. I wanted to vote in my municipal elections.
Yeah, I mean, that happens in smaller communities all the time. And now you would be pinned in if you wanted, and it happens mostly in municipal races, like you were saying, and so, or county races. And so people would be pinned in and stuck. And if, God forbid, if they wanted to change, like I said, it's this incredibly long period before the election where you wouldn't be allowed to change your voter file from Republican to Democrat.
Nikki Kelly from the Capitol Chronicle is our guest. You guys did a deep dive on this, I think it was last year, on Indiana's voting and why it's so bad. And obviously the presidential election last year was a kind of an anomaly on all this. But did you guys come up with a theory? I think you guys came up with like a set of theories, right, on like why or reasons Indiana's voter turnout is so bad.
Well, I mean, we talked to a lot of voters, and I remember one of the main things they said is that at least on the state house side, is that, you know, all of those districts are crafted,
right,
literally crafted in such a way that all but like 12, you really can't, get a Democrat to beat a Republican, or in some of them, a Republican to beat a Democrat. Like, they're, mathematically created so much that they feel like there's not, their vote means nothing.
All right, real quick before we let you go, and I'm so glad you guys have done this. I think it's going to work out well. You guys have sued the state of Indiana, and it looks like, based on comments from Braun, that you guys may produce a result before this has to be decided in court. Tell us about it.
We hope so. We asked for the cost of the execution drug that was used in December, and the Holcomb administration absolutely refused. They said somehow giving us a number would lead to the identity of where they got it, which is protected by law, and we didn't ask for who they got it from. And so it looks like Governor Mike Braun's administration is going to review this and see if they can get us the cost and settle the lawsuit. So we're hoping, because we think this is transparency, just like, like someone's salary in the state government or anything like that. And especially the death penalty, it's a pretty serious thing. Let's put all the cards on the table.
Yeah, you guys have done great work with that, because, I'm pro death penalty, but I'm also I want to know what it's costing me to do something. And I think you guys are doing a lot of great work. There's a bill out there that would abolish the death penalty. Has that got any chance of going forward?
I don't think a full repeal has a chance. However, they're talking about maybe they could amend the bill to be more of a modernization of the death penalty, and maybe now that we've started it back up again, address some items within the process, but probably not a full repeal, no.
She's one of the best in the business. You can stay up to date on everything going on with the state government. Nobody, nobody covers day-to-day the state of Indiana and the Indiana General Assembly like Indiana Capitol Chronicle. Nikki Kelly, thanks for all you do. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
No matter where you head on your commute, Matt Bear is there. Paris.
Les Champs-Élysées sont un véritable parking ce matin.
Warsaw.
W drodze do pracy wyjdź trochę wcześniej.
Or Brazil.
Temos bisbilhotice no Rio de Janeiro. Não haja como turista.
Matt, these are all cities in Indiana.
Oh, that makes my job easier.
Making your commute easier. Matt Bear Traffic. Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
Do you have an idea for a book, fiction, nonfiction, or a children's book? We can help you put it together and bring it to market at Dorrance Publishing. We have thousands of testimonials from people just like you that we've helped get their books sold in stores and online. We've even got a service called The Writer's Coach. It's perfect for people that have a book idea in their head and they just need someone to help them put it on paper. Dorrance Book Publishing has been helping people just like you who have a book idea, written or not, for over 100 years. Imagine being counted among the most famous authors in the world with your very own book. Call right now and let us help you turn a book idea into reality. It's easier than you think. You just need a little help. Call us now.
800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. That's 800-879-4098.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
Coming home to a cold house in the dead of winter isn't just inconvenient, it's expensive. For over 60 years, thousands of Hoosiers have trusted B&W to catch their problems early and keep their families warm and safe. Call 317-214-0108 or go to bplusw.com for fast, reliable service today.
That's 317-214-0108. B&W, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
Hi, I'm Scott Wilson, third generation owner of Wilson Farm Market, just 15 minutes north of 465 on 31. If you are looking for your source of homegrown, locally made, know where your food's coming from, we are your spot. We have hand-dipped ice cream, 130 different kinds of cheese. We fry chicken, just a little bit of everything, a foodie's heaven. Wilson Farm Market, where good taste runs in the family. Just 15 minutes north of 465, right on US 31.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go, shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit NoTimeToWait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
You got to know when to hold up, know when to fold up, know when to walk
somebody should have played this on a loop for the mayor of Carmel yesterday.
She counting her money?
No,
While she's sitting at the table?
Well, I know you want to spend like the whole show dumping on the mayor of Carmel. We just can't do that. We got to spread this out and be strategic about it.
Okay.
So I figured once an hour it was fine to point out some things going on in the city of Carmel so that if there happens to be a lawmaker that hears this program, they'll know not to believe any more sob stories or, tall tales about how, some poor rank and file fireman or police officer is going to get fired in Carmel, which is basically what the mayor there, old Spendin' Sue Finkham, alluded to. By what is the Carmel budget again? What was it? Was it
234.8 million.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
There's not that many people in Carmel. I mean, there are a lot of people, but not that many. And then what were the reserves?
Nearly 103,000 people.
What are they sitting on in excessive taxation? What was the number there?
Are you talking about the property taxes?
Well, yeah, what are there's an extra. There's extras, right?
Well, you want the general fund revenue for property taxes from last year?
I want the reserves, Casey. I want how much
reserves.
extra money do they have? What excessive taxation are they sitting on?
Gotcha. $22.9 million.
That's a lot of money. I mean, that could help a lot of homeowners.
$14.6 million in the rainy day fund.
So one of the things that this Indy Reporter guy, which we kind of started following his account, he had sent us what some of the big muckety mucks are making there in Carmel, and we'd read that last hour, and It's staggering the amount of money some of these tippy top people are making to fund a lot of rank and file people. What I figured all the fire people were together. We were kind of reading some of the administrators' salaries, and at the very top, right here, Casey, according to this document, a fire captain. You want to know what he's making?
Was that the one that was well over 200,000?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's nearly 300,000.
Yeah, $271,409 according to this document. Now, I don't know what a rank and file fireman makes in Carmel, but I'm guessing that's what, like 3 or 4. I mean, is that fireman worth 3 or 4 firemen? We read all the other ones that are near $200,000. The point is, it's all crap, and it's disgustingly insulting that this woman, old Spendin' Sue Finkham, had the audacity to go in front of that committee and act like some end-of-the-world thing is going to happen if you, are you making $271,000? Why should some guy in the government be doing that much better than you? You're paying to get screwed.
That's exactly what's happening. And she has the audacity to go out there and with a straight face try to tell these lawmakers that some calamity is going to happen to public safety if you get the most meager amounts of property tax reform.
And they're looking to add more firemen as well.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
She must not be too worried then.
That was in the proposed budget for this year. But let's review her answer when she was asked directly what she thought an appropriate amount of property tax relief would be.
Ah, yes.
She was not very specific.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for being here, Campbell. Thanks for your testimony, too. I guess just a simple question to both of you. What is an acceptable property tax reform? What cuts could you take?
That's a hypothetical, Senator, that I haven't quite looked at yet because this is early in the process. Again, we will be as responsive and as responsible as we can with wherever this ends at the end of the year or end of the session. But clearly it's going to have broad reach impacts all across the city.
You're a mayor of a city and you have no idea where you could cut? Like if you had to, you don't know right now. You run the city and you can't tell me one thing. Yeah, we could definitely do without that.
Well, you can tell that she's not prepared. I mean, she's already submitted her budget. It's already been approved. So she's saying at the end of the year, end of the session. It's like, I'm not doing that.
When I was an elected person, I guarantee you if I'd been asked that question off the top of my head, I could tell you 10 things that we could cut immediately and nobody would know they're gone. And this is why I'm so passionate about this. Is it's enraging that these people won't say what they actually think. I'd have so much more respect for people like her if they just come out and say the thing, which is, I want it all. And I believe you should pay whatever I tell you to pay. That's what Sue Finkham actually believes. That's what these mayors actually believe. I decide what you pay whatever I tell you, and that's what I think should happen. If she said that, yeah, of course I want the $58.5 million taxpayer-funded hotel. Yeah, of course we want the $55 million swimming pool. Now I realize that's a school expenditure, not hers. Of course we want the Palladium and the reflexive pool and the stuff in the roundabouts and the fake people on the streets. Yeah, we want it, and we're going to tell you what to pay. Like, I wish she would be like what's the guy, Samuel L. Jackson in a Time to Kill when he's on the witness stand, right? Like, just say, or Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. Just say the thing that you actually think, which is you believe our homes are your piggy bank, and I'm going to spend whatever I want to spend to have whatever stuff I want to have. Instead, they give this. It's a lie. They're not going to fire any firemen. They're not going to fire any police officers if they know the first thing about municipal government or budgeting. And clearly, they have the money, based on you're telling me the millions upon millions of dollars they have in reserves. They could not make any changes if this property tax plan goes through, and they'd be okay.
They're projected to collect $48,318,794 in property taxes alone for this year.
But that's out of the general fund, right? See, again, this is the little magic trick that these people do. That's not including what they're collecting in terms of these tax increment finance districts, which are overseen by a redevelopment commission. There's all this property, all these commercial developments that are paying property, which is probably, if you were to do a super deep dive into the Carmel city budget, every bit or more of what these homes are paying, because they're paying the 3%. And that's not going through to the city. It's not going through to the school. It's not going through to the county. They're taking it to pay for things like a taxpayer-funded hotel. So when you look at these numbers, you're not even getting anywhere near the actual picture of how much money these people are bringing in. How much they bringing in local income tax, the LIT. What's the number on the LIT?
Do you want the certified or the supplemental?
All of it.
The certified is $64,950,661, and that's up nearly $10 million from last year.
That's your income tax. So that's
Your
income tax. Yep, they're getting that. Okay, and then what's the other one?
The supplemental, the one time, is a little over $12 million.
So you put those two together, public school math, what's that, $76 million?
It's closer to 77 based on, yeah.
So we're going to do this again next hour. I didn't start this fight with this mayor. All I did was talk about her testimony in front of this committee, which was complete crap. And we're doing this because, look, I know most of these lawmakers are going to take the path of least resistance. They're not going to do something based on if it's right for you because they dislike you as much as she does. But at least they'll know. They'll have to do it on their conscience of knowing this woman got up there and told you an incredibly tall tale and they're not going to be firing people, and we're gonna have, and I want the public to know. That's the bigger part of this. I want the public to know that if these lawmakers vote against Braun's property tax plan, how much they actually hate you, because this is the crap that they're trying to sell you.
Well, even in their own budget proposal, they say with these reserves, they are to weather any future economic downturns. And you've got Donald Trump and Doge at a federal level cutting.
Yep.
You've got Mike Braun at a state level saying his budget is going to be 5% less.
Yep.
So why can't the municipal governments follow that lead and cut as well?
And because, look, she clearly knows we exist. She knows this program exists based on the fact that she's responding to it. We invite the mayor of Carmel to come on here and say it to our faces, the stuff she said in that hearing. We'll work through your budget, and you can tell us why, if your people get any amount of property tax support, that you're going to lay off police and firemen. We'll start with the guy making $271,000 and work our way backwards. How about that?
The budget priorities it lists provides a slight annual surplus.
Oh.
A slight annual surplus.
All right. So are we doing... At some point, we got to talk about you and this thing with your daughter. We got to get into that at some point.
We'll get into that, but
because I think we need Kevin, because Kevin's a young person, and we're going to need Kevin to weigh in on if you've got the right to be upset with your daughter about her online behavior.
I don't think so. Do you want to do some voicemails? We do have some.
Oh, okay, great.
All right, it's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Life-changing discovery should never be left to chance. IU Indianapolis is Indiana's premier urban research university, home to 50 research centers and institutes, which means our students don't just study groundbreaking research, they make their very own breakthroughs from day one. We're here to make the future happen. Bring on tomorrow. IU Indianapolis. Discover what's next at go.iu.edu/breakthrough.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How he says it may be done. Radar is clear. It's 37 and cloudy downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. President Trump says no American soldiers would be needed for the U.S. to take over the Gaza Strip. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said the takeover would see Palestinians resettle in far safer communities with modern new homes in the region. This comes as the plan has drawn widespread condemnation from nations all around the world. Democrats are calling for Elon Musk, who heads the Department of Government Efficiency, to be fired.
You had Democrats casting Musk's role at Doge as illegal. Senator Chris Van Hollen called it a coup. It comes as Democrats have been pressuring their lawmakers to do more to stop Trump's agenda, like protest Senate votes and throw up roadblocks, calling Elon Musk an unelected bureaucrat who's amassed unchecked power. But the party has few levers to use, with Republicans controlling the White House and both chambers of Congress. So it's really only the courts that have been successful in reining in Doge's pace.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Attention Indianapolis residents in need of care at home. If you need assistance with daily activities, you can receive in-home care from a loved one that lives with you and they get paid. Through Medicaid with no cost to you, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care at home in Indianapolis, and they get paid instantly. This is 100% free to you. Call now to check your eligibility. It can be your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need and your caregiver gets paid instantly. Freedom Care has over 7,000 five-star Google reviews and is a leading choice in Indianapolis for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's free to you through Medicaid, go to freedomcare.com or call 463-262-0024. 463-262-0024. That's 463-262-0024.
Discussing end-of-life matters can be uncomfortable, but it's also necessary to ensure that loved ones' wishes are well known ahead of time. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. Up next, I'll share suggestions to help ease anxiety surrounding the talk.
Cardon and Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Direct, open, and honest conversation is the best way to discuss end-of-life wishes. Knowing your loved one's preferred treatments and desired arrangements will ready everyone for when the time comes. Also helpful, creating a will or trust to ensure assets are distributed accordingly. And consider an end-of-life doula to assist your family during the process. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Hey guys, it's Rob for We Grow Hair Indie, and I know sometimes as you're listening to this very fabulous #1 rated radio show, and especially if you're a person who sees this on the YouTube feed, you're thinking to yourself, I wish my life could not only be as fabulous as Rob's, but I also could look as fabulous as Rob. And you can, thanks to our friends at We Grow Hair Indie. Don't smirk at me, Kevin. You know you've thought that many times in your life. Here's what you do. 317-522-2995. That's the phone number. You'll get there eventually, Kevin. 317-522. What are you laughing at, Casey? 317. I'm trying to do a promo here. 317-522-2995. Schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. Darren and the gang, they'll take great care of you, and they'll give you some suggestions, and then you decide from there. Oh, yeah, and it's Valentine's Day right around the corner. What could be a better gift to your wife than out-and-out sexiness and a look and an appeal of Rob Kendall? 317-522-2995. It's not funny, Casey. WeGrowHairIndie.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
Show your true love and spoil her with that special Valentine's gift from Pierce Jewelers in Carmel that says, I love you. Remember, shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present voicemails.
What? Nothing, just something you said.
What?
It tickled me, that's all. 317-684-8444. That's the phone number if you'd like to get involved with voicemails. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
You know, I wasn't always what you see in front of you today. You know, I mean...
Was it better or worse?
Beauty's what's the old saying? Beauty's all in the eye of the beholder. You know, it's amazing. I have successfully throughout my life been incredibly skinny and incredibly fat. And at 40, whatever I am now, I've just found the middle.
Yeah.
I've been as high as 180. I've been as low as 140, and I'm just right smack dab in the middle of it now.
You're like that Seinfeld episode where he keeps the jean size hidden from everybody. You scratch off the size on the tag so no one can tell if you go up or down.
Look, what sort of person can honestly say that they can fit into the same suit they had 15 years ago? I mean, that's a pretty good accomplishment
that is a
middle-age-ish person to be able to...
Middle-age-ish?
Well...
You're there, buddy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is 40? Is that middle age?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
The average age of an American man is what, 78, 79?
Huh.
So.
Yeah, but I mean, what if you've kept up this sort of appearance for all that time? I mean, age is only a number, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about like someone
state of mind.
Like Nathan Peter now, the lead pastor at Life Church, and his wife. They're they're pod people. They're going to live to be 120.
They're pod people
because they will outlive. So they're not middle aged. They're nearing 50, but they're not middle aged
because they'll live forever
because of how well they've taken care of themselves. It's God blesses some people just with great genetics, right? Like I don't think I got, you know, the height or the, you know, Brad Pitt good looks, but I, knock on wood, thus far, I've been a relatively healthy individual despite treating myself like, you know, out and out garbage for much of my existence.
Yeah.
But
some of it's what? Nature, some of it's nurture?
But if you got something you want to say, go ahead.
No.
Now's your opportunity. Get it out.
We're going to move on to voicemails. You know, yesterday we talked about Trucker John. He called and we said, hey, you know what? He hasn't written any music for us in a while. And here he is calling back to give us an update.
As far as the music goes, yeah, I'd like to get back into it. But unfortunately, I lost a lot of my recording equipment when I lost the place I was staying at. But if I can figure out somewhere to record, which I've been kind of trying to figure that out, as far as doing a Serve Hoosiers Well Part 2, kind of like I said the last time, challenge accepted. I'd already been thinking about it the minute I heard those idiots up on Washington Street were wanting to fight against their own bill. So I'm going to see what I can do on that. Hopefully I have something figured out here soon.
All right, so to reset, Trucker John, who I've become friends with on social media, he was a trucker, like over the road trucker, and one of the finest amongst us. And what are you laughing at, Kevin? You met or engaged with Trucker John.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah. But then he also was a part-time rapper.
Yeah.
And weren't you guys supposed to do some sort of collab together or something at one point? Weren't you guys gonna?
Yeah, I feel like we talked about it,
And it
but
never
it never
happened.
just came. It never came to fruition. Maybe we should. I mean, we have booths here. We've got the studio here.
This is my thought. So Trucker John, I think, hit some hard times personally, and now he's back on his feet again.
Getting there.
And he had, I guess, a home studio where he was doing, and he did
Serve Hoosiers Well.
Yes, where he insulted all the people that we loathe on this show, and it was a great. Do we still have that? Do we? Can you?
I might be able to pull
Could you
it up.
find that? See if you could find that. But I said we need. I think what could push Bronze Bill over the finish line is if Trucker John would do a new.
We need a theme song.
A new rap.
A jingle.
Yeah. So could we just let John come in one day?
Sure.
And just record.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
What do you call it, Kev? Lay down your tracks? Is that what you guys call it?
Yeah, we can lay down some tracks in the stew.
Yeah.
In the stew. I don't know if he'd be able to plug directly into the board, but
Well, he just needs a bit audio, right? I mean, he just needs to be able to do his
track
lyrics. I thought he kind of made it sound like whatever the music would be, he has that that figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could come with a beat, and then we can I can hook this up easily.
Kevin knows how to do. It's for the show. We should be allowed to invite him in. I'm doing this now. Trucker John, you get with Casey or Kev.
Okay.
I'm very busy, but you get with
course.
Casey and Kev, and
Right.
you let them know when you can come in after the show one day, and they'll hook you up in a studio, and
Right.
you can.
As Kevin said, he'll lay down a beat and
In
then
the stew.
lay down a track in the stew.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay,
Problem
and
solved.
we need to find his old song.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. I'm
so that we
looking
can
for
pick
it.
back up.
Did you do
for
this?
part
See, I
two.
used to do this as a producer, Kev. Now, yours is different than mine. Mine was because I just, quite frankly, didn't care and wasn't even trying. Yours is because of the sheer volume we give you, where you just forget what you've labeled things or where they're at.
Is that
or-
back when you were a junior producer?
a junior producer? I was the main producer.
The freshman producer?
And they made it very clear I was not there because of my producing talents.
All right, let's move on to another phone call. This woman, I believe it's Jenny, wanted to call and talk about property taxes.
Hi, Rob and Casey. Kevin? I wanted to call about my property taxes the other day, but I just didn't have a chance. Of course, mine went up almost $2,000 in Clinton County, Frankfort, where I live. My name is Jenny, by the way. So the other day when you asked us to call or email Oldman, I called the phone number and had nothing better to do, so I waited the 5 minutes on the phone for them to get back through, and the receptionist answered the phone, and she was very nice, and she asked me to hold for a moment. They'd just gotten swamped with phone calls, and my response was, I bet. And she stopped, and she was like, oh, are you calling about the Senate Bill number 1 on property taxes? And I said, yes, I am. And she said, oh, good, thank you, and pushed me right through. I mean, didn't even wait on hold for a minute anymore. So it rang about 3 or 4 times. Of course, I got voicemail, but that's okay because I left my message anyway. Thank you for what you're doing, because a lot of people wouldn't know what to do, and you are making it possible. And now we're learning more and more and more, and hopefully the future is going to be brighter. I love what you guys do, and keep up the good work.
Well, thank you for taking your time and doing that. And we're happy to do that. And hopefully at the end, when this is all said and done, there'll be some giant mural of Casey and myself in the State House for all that we've done for
We'll
humanity.
be like that Larry Bird mural that's in Terre Haute. I wonder what building they'd put us on.
I think we have time for one more voicemail.
Okay, this one is about the Super Bowl bill giving us the Monday off after the Super Bowl. That bill that's in the State House?
Yeah.
Hey, Rob, just listen to you talking about Mitch Gore's bill in the State House about declaring the day after the Super Bowl a holiday. Well, my productivity goes down from, let's say January 2nd to about March 31st because of cold weather and snow.
Yeah.
Can that just be declared a holiday too? I'm much more productive when the sun's out and I can ride my bike and walk and get fresh air. So just my thoughts. Bye.
Yeah, the problem with that is, we kind of experienced that a few years ago. You remember when they shut everything down.
Yeah, that's right.
And then what happened?
But we never got any days off. I don't know about you, or you were working at the time.
I was working.
I mean, you were fleeing to several states during COVID, seeking some sort of
I was in the free state of Florida.
pot of gold. But didn't you end up in Michigan again? Then
Yeah, that's true.
Boy, what a horrible mistake that was.
Polar opposites, right?
Yeah. All right, Hammer's next. Is that right?
Yep, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show back at it on a Thursday, 3:06. The biggest stories of the day. Rob Kendall, he's going to flip out, go off the rails. We're talking property taxes and more. 93 WIBC.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. You know it's still Obamacare, right? We've recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what the heck do you have to lose? We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Call Ron or Terry at 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868. Or go to rragency.org. That's rragency.org. A health plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
These cold winter nights mean more than just frosty windows. They can also spell trouble for your roof. Freezing temperatures, ice, and snow can lead to leaks that cause costly water damage if left unchecked. Moss Roofing is here to help. Tony Katz here, and Moss Roofing are the only ones to trust. A family business based right here in central Indiana. Whether it's a free inspection, patching a pesky leak, or a full roof replacement, their expert team has your winter roofing needs covered. Plus, they offer numerous financing options to make it easy on your wallet. Don't wait for that drip to turn into a disaster. Call Moss Roofing today for a roof done right every single time. Talk to Moss Roofing today. 317-747-3665. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-747-3665. Moss Roofing, 747-3665, or find them online at Moss Roofing, MOSS, mossroofing.com.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
With a B&W Premier Club membership, you'll stay ahead of breakdowns and costly repairs. Our members get routine maintenance, priority scheduling, and exclusive discounts, saving you money and keeping your family comfortable all season long. Visit bplusw.com or call 317-214-0108 for more information.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
Dads happen. There's a whole lot of stuff that can mess up the look of your vehicle.
Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal. PDR is paintless dent removal that saves your factory finish and is way less invasive than traditional body shop repairs. And it's faster too, sometimes same day. Google Kill a Dent Removal and check out the reviews and photos. Then schedule your repair. Hail baseballs, kids, fender benders, shopping carts, flying cows, angry X's, and anything else that leaves dents. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go. Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
He's joining us from the Hammer and Nigel show, which starts at 3 o'clock today. Jason Hammer. Hello, my friend.
Hello. You guys, congratulations on your #1 ratings.
Thank you.
And putting the pressure on that mayor from Carmel. What's her issue?
So spending Soof income.
Does anybody buy those arguments anymore? Well, if we do this, then we're just going to have to go over to the children's hospital and set it on fire. We're going to have to sacrifice puppies to Satan. Is that what you want? Do people buy that bull crap anymore?
Well, it's to be determined if that committee that she said that in front of bought it.
Well, and this is the issue, right? Like, these lawmakers are looking for an exit ramp. And we've talked about this before. Maybe we get this today on the rails. They're looking for an exit ramp because they don't want to pass this property tax reform. But the arguments are so weak from these local government people. They don't have an exit ramp yet. They don't have a smoking gun to go, oh my gosh, this will happen if we do this. And the people, to their credit, our audience, your audience, I don't know. I guess Tony engages. I don't know. But at least our audience and your audience have really stepped up and emailed and called these people and said, hey, put me first for once.
Well, this is just like the presidential election. There comes a point in time where you got to draw that line in the sand and say, no more bullcrap. No more bullcrap. And if you're going to have a face for the other side here, is the mayor of Carmel the one you want to be crying poor? Like, if this were the mayor of some other small town in Indiana, okay, maybe their situation's a little different. But the roundabout capital of the world, the rich capital of Indiana, you got this mayor coming out and saying, well, if all you poor people get a deal, we might not be able to have a police department or a fire department.
Or a $135,000 bison statue.
We're going to have to go to the old folks' home and smother them all to death. We can't afford for them to live. Like, it's that ridiculous level of fear-mongering that just cracks me up. Nobody believes that, like, bullcrap. Maybe they did 20 years ago. Maybe they did 10 years ago, but no more. And I hope everybody listening right now does not fall for the, well, we might not have a school, we might not have a hospital bullcrap.
Yeah, and you know, one of the great things is we finally have a willing partner in the governor's office. Think about all the good we could have been doing the past 7 or 8 years if we'd had somebody who actually gave a damn about the people over there. And we do now. And then Braun is showing that he cares. And so it's really great to have somebody who's putting the pressure on inside the State House. We'll do our job out here, and hopefully we'll get something good out of this.
Now, question for you, because this is a question I get from one of my friends, and I feel like you're probably the guy to answer it. Let's just say, best case scenario, there is property tax relief passed this year.
Yeah.
3 years from now, 4 years from now, is it going to resort back to the way it was? Are the assessors going to change the way they do things and screw people again? Because that's kind of how we got here, right?
Well, so I think there's a couple things. One, if they pass his plan as is, it'll stop a lot of that because it caps the growth. You know, at 2 or 3, your bill can only go up 2 or 3% every year, and then you get the reset. So it'll take a while. The goal should be to get out of property taxes. There's no reason for property taxes to exist. You own your home. The government has nothing to do with you buying. The local governments have nothing to do with you buying your home. They have no right to have a lien on your home. And I have always viewed this as like the first big step. It's a big one,
but a big step in getting out of the property tax game. But I think they put some safeguards in there with those resets to say, hey, your bill can only go up 2 or 3% a year, which they will. They'll exploit that to the max. But at least you'll know now.
Okay, because the folks doing the accessing of the property, there was a little issue with that. That's kind of how we got in this little situation we're in.
Sure, and in fairness to those people, and I know we got to get to the you got something here for us, but they're following the system that the state set up, and so you got to fix the system.
Okay, so on the subject of property taxes and people being poor, this brings me to you. You have told us on this segment, on my show, on when you do Off the Rails, and on the amazing sports betting podcast that we do together, The Degenerates Next Door, brought to you by StatFactory.io. You are not going to be betting on the Super Bowl this year. You're not even going to be watching the Super Bowl.
That's correct. It's because the fix is in. I'm done playing, participating in a fixed sport.
And my argument has been, make money on something that's fixed. Right? You've got the inside track, and you are not doing it. So
I don't need money. Now look at me. Look at how happy I am.
I don't need money.
I'm a principled
Take that to your
person.
next contract negotiation,
Right.
kid.
Yeah.
Casey's head just spun around. All right, so I'm going to come to the table with one more offer.
Oh, wow.
Maybe one more offer. So I know you're a broke bitch. So I don't want your beautiful wife and your beautiful daughter to go hungry and starve. So I am hosting just a big, kind of awesome food bonanza Super Bowl party at Casa de Hammer. We're going to have the slushy machines going. We're going to have, it's going to look like a Trump White House celebration, like when Clemson won it all. All the pizza, all the wings.
It's like USAID paid for it.
And I will give you all the food you want. You can bring anybody you want. You can load up. You can be Cousin Eddie. You can take food home. We'll get you drinks. I'll get you a ride. But you have to admit that you're going to watch the Super Bowl, and you may even bet on it.
Nah, I don't want your stuff.
So you'd rather have your family starve to death so you can not make money on a fixed
like a
outcome.
good time. I mean, you could leave with a shrimp in your pocket.
That's not really much of an incentive. We got turkey at home. We got lunch meat at home. They'll be fine. I think I've even got 2 steaks in the freezer. It'll be fine. Everything will be fine.
Those steaks probably expired in the Reagan administration.
What about the sparkling conversation? What if the TV's just in the peripheral?
You're not giving your wife and children nice things because you're a tyrant. Like, I get the fact you want to be an a-hole, but the fact that you're going to screw over your amazing wife, your beautiful daughter, from a fun night with all types of things.
Do it for the children.
Because you don't want to make money, it's a hard sell for me.
I just think somebody can do better than that. I think there's a better offer out there.
All right.
I'm the Trump of dealing my decency.
Art of the deal.
Right now, you're Canada. You're on the short end. I'm going to make my best and final offer on our podcast today.
Oh, wow. There's something else out there.
I'm going to prove that I'm Ted DiBiase. I'm the $1 Million Man, and you can be bought.
All right, so you got to listen to the Degenerates Next Door podcast, which will be out to about 1 o'clock today?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go.
Thanks, Hammer. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
If you built a house, you'd start with a strong foundation, right? Now, if you want to build a financial game plan for retirement, you'd start with Social Security. That's the foundation, and here's why. The decision to file for Social Security could impact your taxes, IRA, and 401k withdrawals, spousal benefits, and even your Medicare premiums. Everything is impacted by Social Security. That's why it's critical you get this right.
Nobody knows Social Security like our guy, Bill Demery, your retirement guy here in Indy. Bill is going to do customized. That's important. Customized Social Security analysis just for you. Everybody's different. He'll customize yours. And it's free. Absolutely free, even if you're not a client. So if you've saved more than $200,000 and have not yet filed for Social Security, call our guy, Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. 317-648-5120. Bill Demery, your retirement guy.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Garage Floor Coatings. If your garage floor looks bad with stains, cracks, and pits, it makes your entire garage look bad. And a bad epoxy job or chipping paint makes your garage or basement look worse. With one quick call to 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, I can save you $1,000 on a new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor during our winter sale. A Comer & Cross concrete floor coating is the gold standard. Guaranteed. A Comer & Cross garage floor won't chip, crack, or show tire lift like epoxy or paint ever. What's the Comer & Cross difference? We make it so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We fix the cracks and pits perfectly. And one day, you will love your gleaming, new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor just in time for spring. Call us right now for $1,000 in savings during our winter sale. Operators are standing by now at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number Limited Edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Let's talk about getting back to your best. Lack energy, muscle mass, feel moody, or have low libido? It could be signs of low testosterone. Know your T levels. Get tested. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer. The true experts are at Low T Center, and everyone's different. Don't settle for a standard dosage TRT program.
Get personalized treatment at Low T Center. For current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 referral credit when you refer a new patient. LowTCenter.com. Book that appointment today. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
This Valentine's Day, the perfect gift is at PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms in Brownsburg. You're going to find that one-of-a-kind piece without breaking the bank. Unique vintage pieces of jewelry dating back to the 1800s. One-of-a-kind pieces from local jewelers. And they also have those wow factor diamonds if you're looking to make this Valentine's Day something special. A big jewelry selection without the big jewelry price. It's more than a kiss. 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg. 317-858-3030 online at premierarms.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, John Herrick reports on the protests yesterday on the steps of the State House, plus what Hoosiers are saying about that extra 50 cents you're paying for eggs at Waffle House, and IU's football coach talks about his recruiting class for next season. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
President Trump goes to the National Prayer Breakfast. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
I hope my greatest legacy, when it's all finished, will be known as a peacemaker and a unifier.
And he announced at the breakfast in Washington he's creating a new presidential commission to uphold a right to religious liberty.
If we don't have religious liberty, then we don't have a free country. We probably don't even have a country.
And the president also said he'll sign an executive order today
to eradicate anti-Christian bias. About time, right?
Now, federal workers have until midnight to accept the Trump buyout offer to resign but be paid through September.
As of yesterday, the White House said about 40,000 people had accepted that offer. It is short of the 5 to 10% of the federal workforce that they thought might take this deal. If they reach that goal, it would save about $100 billion annually in taxpayer money.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. Of course, Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency are also trying to cut spending and trim federal agencies, and Democrats do not like the way that's going, demanding Musk be fired.
An unelected, unaccountable billionaire now has seemingly unlimited powers over Americans' private data.
Congressman Greg Casar is chair of the Progressive House Caucus. Fox Business Network's Hillary Vaughn reports from the Capitol.
DOJ is tapping into the mother lode of fraud, they say, by going into Medicare and Medicaid and looking for fraudulent payments. But Democrats are warning that they don't think Musk will stop at just finding fraud, but instead will steal your taxpayer dollars.
Now, Democrats are also worried about Russ' vote cutting spending as the director of the Office of Management and Budget, but Senate Republicans may vote to confirm him tonight. Also this morning, Republicans are blaming Democrats for delaying a Judiciary Committee vote that's supposed to be today to advance Kash Patel's nomination as FBI director. Now, Democrats oppose Patel and want another hearing. That committee vote now set for next Thursday. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Yelling on the steps. It's 37 and cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. A group of people against President Donald Trump brought their thoughts to the State House on Wednesday. John Herrick reports.
That's part of what a protest was sounding like, with drivers honking in support of it. They say they're against President Trump's policies, and they want Indiana lawmakers to know that. This is part of a nationwide protest that happened in all 50 state capitals throughout Wednesday. Some of the 400 people there, despite the bad weather, said they're advocating for LGBTQ rights and they want action taken on climate change. In downtown Indianapolis, John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Video games may have been at the center of a shooting that happened at a home on the northeast side overnight. IMPD says they had to take a man to the hospital after he had been shot during an argument over Call of Duty. The man who was shot is now at the hospital. No word on his condition. You've probably heard by now that Waffle House has a new policy on eggs. They're placing a 50-cent charge on each egg that you order. When this woman in Indiana went to a Waffle House Wednesday morning, she was surprised to see that.
A sticker on the menu that there was going to be an extra surcharge for them.
Waffle House says it's only temporary until egg prices come down. A nationwide bird flu problem has caused the prices to increase. What you pay for gas is holding steady at the moment, though. $2.93 is the average in Indiana today, says Gas Buddy. Wednesday was National Signing Day for many college football teams, including the Indiana Hoosiers. Head coach Kurt Cignetti says it's the end of a productive recruiting season.
Pleased with what we got done, filling immediate needs in the portal. 19 portal guys, along with 23 high school guys, 14 are enrolled mid-year. I feel like we addressed the needs that we needed to address for the 25 season.
Coach Sig also touting how many players he has are coming back from last year, saying not many conversations had to be had in order to keep certain players. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Are you thinking this year I want to look and feel better and get my hair back? We Grow Hair Indy can help you do just that. I'm Rob, and I got my hair back at We Grow Hair Indy. Here's Darren Andrews, clinic director, to tell you why I chose them.
For nearly 20 years, we've helped thousands of clients grow their hair back, and we can help you. We're one of only 2 places in the entire country to offer the Artist Robotic FUE and multi-unit hair grafting.
I got multi-unit hair grafting. I love the results and cannot believe how much hair I got back. I can't recommend them enough. Call right now, 317-522-2995 for a free evaluation. Great technology, great company, great people, great results. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com, see my results, and call 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Don't you want to say, I got my hair back?
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Valentine's Gift Headquarters.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, February 6th. It is 5 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Donald Trump's FBI director nominee, Kash Patel, he was expected to be approved today by the Senate Judiciary Committee, putting him one step closer to the Senate confirmation. However, some Democrats have now stopped that process, and Chuck Grassley has said that the minority, as well as himself, have exercised their right to put that nomination on hold. They want another hearing.
Good morning. Today's markup will be brief, so I'll get right down to business. On our agenda, we've got 3 administrative committee matters and 1 nomination listed. The minority, as well as myself, have exercised their right and my right under the committee rules to hold over the nomination of Kash Patel to be director of the FBI. So that nomination is held over.
Okay, so that means they're not going to move forward with this as quickly as everybody originally thought. So why take more time? Some people are saying, oh, the Democrats just need more time to cover up their corruption.
Well, look, I mean, they're going to try to gum up the works on whatever they possibly can. And if they've got some maneuver available to them based on, usually they'll try to say, oh, we didn't get this piece of information, or the background check isn't complete with this yet, or this was missing from the report. The Republicans do it too. It's just, but again, you can't get too up or down about the way this process plays out for any of these people, because the other side's going to do it to their, I guess that's part of the problem is the Republicans a lot of times don't do it to their, I should rephrase it, they can do it, but they don't. That is the problem, right? Isn't that the problem? That the Republicans never fight hard the way the Democrats fight hard? Like, as goofy and wacky as Chuck Schumer and old what's-her-face were yesterday, you ever see the Republicans do anything like that when they're in the minority?
Maxine Waters?
Thank you. Yes, yeah. Maxine Waters. Do you ever see them do anything like that? No, they just go along. Whenever they're in the minority, they just go along and do whatever the Democrats want. And when the Democrats are in the minority, they fight like hell.
So you're right. I mean, the committee rules, it is a part of the process. It just seems that, to your point, the Republicans don't put up a fight when it comes to those rules quite like the Democrats do. So somebody else is putting up a fight is Elon Musk. The government, it's being reported, has subsidized Politico subscriptions, with $8.1 million being spent on 230 transactions from multiple agencies. And Politico came out and said that they weren't paying their employees because of a technical glitch. And now we're hearing these stories about Politico, and you got to wonder, was it a technical glitch, or did their funding dry up because of what's going on with USAID?
Well, isn't it fascinating? The broader story isn't one individual organization. It's the voluminous nature in which the U.S. was funding these various non-government related entities and organizations, and all of the money and nobody really knew anything about this group. Isn't that amazing? Like, I like to feel like I'm a pretty informed person, and I'm learning all sorts of things about this. I mean, when we talk about government wasting money going places, and we're always like, where did all the money go? This is where the money was going.
It's interesting that some of the major buyers for subscriptions to Politico were the Department of Energy, Department of State, and Elon Musk has been very critical of the funding, calling it a waste of taxpayer money and signaling it would end soon. And there's also the reports now that he has been given top security clearance. However, there have been some Democrats who are now saying, nope, we're not going to have that. You're this unelected bureaucrat. And now the Treasury Department agreed not to directly share any personal data with Doge. That was the big complaint, that, Elon Musk wasn't elected, and why does he have access to all of our personal data? Well, now, just a little while ago, the Treasury Department came out and said he's not going to have access.
Well, and let's come back to Politico for a second, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it appears CNN and other places have kind of course, they're desperately trying to disprove this. And what they've uncovered is there was about $8.2 million in what's called Politico Pro, which is their subscribe service. So if you've ever read Politico, it's an online service. There's free stories and there's sort of like extra stuff. They spent $8.2 million across the federal government on Politico Pro last year. Well, if we run the government like we run society, which we should, and in your life, if you have no money, you have to immediately start with like any excess, right? Like any person who's in financial straits and you go to see a financial advisor or whatever, people, that kind of try to organize your life, they're going to look at and go, what excesses, things you don't need to live, are you spending money on? Well, when you're $36 trillion in debt, things like this, there's nothing in Politico Pro that's going to make our government better. They're a for-profit entity. They're biased as hell anyway on a lot of things. Now, Politico does do some good reporting. They do have some things. They have some nice reporters who work over them. But by and large, they've got a leftward tilt to them. And if you look at how the reporting has changed since Trump is in office, you can just, see it front and center. And the reality is, whether they were radically right or radically left, we have no money in this country. We're negative 36 trillion.
every dollar spent is a dollar printed at this point, and we have no business paying $8.2 million for people to have Politico Pro because it doesn't make our government any better. So good. I'm glad it's gone. Good.
Well, it's just like you in your personal life when you look at your budget, what you're bringing in and what your expenses are, and you go, we can't afford this Netflix subscription. We can't afford the Amazon Prime. We can't afford Paramount Plus anymore.
Right.
I mean, you got to figure out, where you're going to cut. So here's the press secretary, and she's calling out Politico straight to their face.
So upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The DOJ team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. And this president and his team are making decisions across the board on, do these receipts serve the interests of the American people? Is this a good use of the American taxpayers' money? If it is not, that funding will no longer be sent abroad, and American taxpayers will see significant savings because of that effort.
Okay, so Casey,
Mm-hmm.
you're a little more seasoned than me,
Mm-hmm.
but do you remember 1998?
Yeah.
Okay. Was life pretty decent, as you recall, in 1998?
Yeah.
I mean, humanity was functioning fine. There weren't just by the millions people crawling in the streets desperate for food, or, malnourished, or, crime, was not at, record levels. I mean, 1998 was a pretty decent year, as you recall, right?
I do recall. I think the biggest fear-mongering that was going on at that time was, Y2K is coming.
Thank you. Okay, so the reason I bring this up is Mike Lee and a couple of other conservative senators did the math, and they determined that in order to balance the federal budget, all we would have to do is return to 1998 spending levels adjusted for inflation.
Okay.
So if we were to, we'll take out what is inflation and then apply that to whatever we were spending in 1998 while humanity was working quite fine, and we would be able to balance the federal budget, and that would be like rocket fuel to our economy. If you balanced the federal budget, it would be like rocket fuel to our economy. But in order to do that, there's so much crap that goes on that you've, over the past, what has that been, 26, 27 years now? And look at how government has grown.
Right.
And the government isn't any better despite the growth. I mean, I heard Jim Banks. You remember Jim Banks? He's the guy who voted for Kevin McCarthy 15 times. You remember him?
Yeah.
And then he wouldn't debate his opponents when he was running for senator.
Yeah.
He was on with Tony yesterday, and he was talking about Gabbard's nomination for DNI, and he was talking about, I'd like to get rid of DNI. I agree with him wholeheartedly on that. Now, he voted for a guy for speaker 15 times that wanted to keep growing government spending money into oblivion. So I don't know, how now this quest to get rid of all these government agencies gels with that. Anybody who is also a supporter of Mike Johnson, who's done absolutely nothing. But, right, like, why couldn't we get rid of these positions? Like, what would actually happen if we got rid of these bureaucracies? I'm willing to risk it. I'm willing to try. And again, all we're talking about is 1998 spending levels adjusted for inflation. This is not some Herculean ask when society was functioning just. We're always told how great the Clinton years were. We're always told how wonderful the economy was under Clinton. Let's go back to that.
Well, you have to keep in mind, government doesn't produce anything, right? They don't give you anything.
No.
They take. That's what they do.
They're blood-sucking parasites.
They take, but they don't give anything back to the economy. Well, a screaming match did erupt. The House lawmakers, they made this motion to subpoena Elon Musk, and the vote failed.
You mean Democrats?
Democrats, yeah. The vote failed 19-20. And it's almost like they don't know how to respond to him. And I think some of these news outlets like the Washington Post, the New York Times, they're in the same situation because with this rapid fire that we're getting from the Trump administration, they're having a hard time crafting their response.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. They don't have time to craft the opposition message. So they're just floating out there.
All right.
let's take a break. We got two things we got to get to this hour. We got to just continue to dump all over the mayor of Carmel because that's been a lot of fun so far today. But next, your daughter did something.
Yeah.
And you're not thrilled with it.
Well,
and I think you've got a case. I think you've got an argument here.
You think so?
About very poor treatment and etiquette towards you by your daughter.
What she did. Okay, it's coming up from 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
The commander-in-chief no longer needs a diaper change. The commander-in-chief doesn't have to watch Matlock with pudding smeared on his face. We've got a commander-in-chief that no longer falls up and down the stairs multiple times. I'm excited for that. If anything else.
Let's see how long it takes before Pencil Neck Adam Schiff to file some impeachment charge.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
It's Hammer and Nigel for Window Nation. February is a short month, and if you haven't looked at your calendar yet, it ends on February 28th, which, coincidentally, is the last day that you can save 60% off all window styles from Window Nation. Plus, you could get zero interest with no payments for 2 years. But now only through the end of February. That's less than 28 days to save big on some of the best windows you could buy. Less than 28 days to get windows that will protect your home and family for decades. Less than 28 days to get a quote on the windows that are going to stop the drafts and leaks and save you money on utility bills every month.
This February, you could miss Groundhog's Day and maybe even Valentine's Day. But do not miss your chance to save 60% off all windows and pay nothing for 2 years only from Window Nation. Schedule that free in-home consultation right now by calling 866-90-NATION or visiting windownation.com.
Life-changing discovery should never be left to chance. IU Indianapolis is Indiana's premier urban research university, home to 50 research centers and institutes, which means our students don't just study groundbreaking research, they make their very own breakthroughs from day one. We're here to make the future happen. Bring on tomorrow. IU Indianapolis. Discover what's next at go.iu.edu/breakthrough.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Morton Building's annual Building Value Day sales event is here and now through the month of February. Morton buildings are built stronger, last longer, and look better. Whether you need a garage, farm shop, stall barn, or storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, now's the time to save on new buildings. Visit MortonBuildings.com to learn more and save on select new buildings that will stand the test of time. From Morton Buildings. Certain restrictions apply. See your local construction center for details.
The Suburban Indie Home and Outdoor Living Show returns to Grand Park February 7th through 9th. Find inspiration from over 200 exhibitors, artisans, and crafters. SuburbanIndieshows.com.
Ain't no rest for the wicked.
I think you got a case.
You think so?
I think you got a right to be pissed off.
I'm not pissed off. I think it's I think it's too late now. Also, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So here's the situation. I got a text yesterday.
By the way, it's Kendall and Kate. You got to introduce our show.
Yeah, it's Rob Kendall. I'm Casey Daniels.
What if people are hearing us for the first time and they're like, what is this fabulous #1 rated radio show that we're hearing?
What is this magic coming from my speakers?
All right, so you come in. Casey comes in this morning all in a fluster. She's like just throwing her papers down, pounding her fist.
That was because the parking garage wasn't working.
You can blame it on whatever you want. Clearly, this has got you very rattled, and I'm not even saying you're wrong for being upset about this.
I'm not upset. I just wanted an opinion
when
on
a woman is like, I'm not upset, you're very upset.
So my daughter texted me yesterday, and she would be dying on the inside if she knew we were talking about this. But she texted me, and she said that she got a match with somebody on Hinge.
What's a Hinge?
It's a dating app.
Yeah.
Have you ever used this application?
Yes.
Okay, so like the Tinder is the hookup one, right? Where you're just people are looking for the
Yeah, Hinge is supposed to be more serious.
Okay, so like if you're a person looking for someone who you might be able to engage in some sort of meaningful relationship with.
Do you remember that wedding that I went to over the summer?
Oh yeah.
The bride and groom met on Hinge.
And Kev, you've been on this application in question.
Yeah.
Before. Okay, very good. All right, go ahead.
So first of all, I didn't know she was on the app.
Oh,
but
yeah.
whatever.
It is surprising.
That's a whole nother story.
It is surprising knowing your daughter that she would be on a dating application.
And she did say in our back and forth conversation that she doesn't go to it often, but she just checked it. And she had...
You buying that?
Yeah, knowing her because she's not on social media.
Now, Kev, fill us in. When she talks about checking the app, like, is it that you get a notification? Like, is it something you got to log into? Like, how does it? You put it on your
you probably get, if you have notifications enabled, then it probably pops up on the screen that you got to match.
Do you ping? How do you match with people? What do you do?
You send them a like. Or you can send them a comment based on a photo that they posted, like, "Oh, I like that shirt."
You see this person's photo in your little. There's some algorithm, and then you see this person's photo and some sort of very brief profile information.
So it's the same concept as Tinder. You know, Tinder, you're swiping. Well, with Hinge, you are clicking the X if you don't want to match with them, or you send them a like or a comment.
Do they know you've X'd them?
No,
they don't know. They don't know you showed up in the feed.
Notified.
Okay, very good. All right, go ahead, Casey.
Well, she said people like you, and you can choose to match and accept, start a conversation, or decline. That was
right.
Okay.
So if you decline, like you're basically
saying I'm not interested.
I'm not interested in you.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
So she said that somebody had matched with her, like sent her a like.
So they saw your daughter's picture and they're like, me likey, tell me more.
Exactly.
Okay, very good.
Right? And it turns out that this was a person who was on a recent season of a reality show.
You can say it. It's your favorite show. That's the whole premise of the bit, Casey.
He was on Survivor, which I love.
You love Survivor.
Wow. I binge watch that all the time.
I don't understand that. To me, that is the most ridiculously scripted, worst show on all of television, but you love that show.
It's my guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Right? And
And you knew this guy.
Well, I knew him from the show.
That's what I'm saying.
This isn't Rupert, right? No, Rupert's a married man, I think.
No, the first season of Survivor was great when they had the seal and the gay guy and all the I think it was less scripted, and then I think for production costs or whatever they had to start making it just basically daytime television.
See, no, I don't believe it's scripted.
Oh, sure, and neither is pro wrestling, Casey.
Right, exactly. I'm still in that camp.
But you knew.
I knew who
this guy was.
Right.
Does he seem like a decent person on the show?
I think I really liked him.
Really?
I mean, I was rooting for him when he was voted off. I was bummed. That was the one I was rooting for.
So you and your daughter have a close enough relationship that she would know that's your favorite show.
We watch it together.
Oh, you watch it together?
Yes.
Okay, so she's in on the show. She not only knows you like the show, she watches the show. This guy's on the show. You're cheering for this guy. She gets some sort of something on the internet, and she's like, nah.
She declined it. And she texted
What a horrible daughter she is. What a horrible move on her part.
She said, hey, do you remember this guy from being on the show? And, I was like, yeah. I mean, I'd have to go back and watch that season to refresh my memory, which I, of course, did. I went and found clips of it. And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember I was rooting for him. He was one of the ones that I liked. I wanted him to win. But she declined it. And the other thing is, he works in radio. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's not a big station where he's at, but if I were her, I would have at least accepted and started a conversation knowing that my mom was a big fan. That would have been a big icebreaker, right?
Why'd she decline him?
She just said he didn't look like her type. She wasn't interested.
But she's seen him on the show.
Well, clearly she didn't remember him from the show. She was not.
Well, this is kind of the problem with the dating apps is that people are just writing people off completely based on their looks.
Oh, yeah. See?
And that's what I was thinking,
and
too.
Okay, so this is a big problem.
So two things. He's right, and I want to come back to that in a second. But two things. One, she's a crappy daughter because she knows you love that show, and that would have been cool for you. One date. She could have gone on one date and got all the Survivor info, and that would have been cool for you. You got to do that for your mother.
I wonder if she didn't know that he was on the show and she declined, and then she found out afterwards.
But,
Is that a
but
thing?
it sounds like there's all these people that are swiping and all these things. You wouldn't. She had to have known that. She wouldn't like go back and be like, remember that guy I X'd out of?
If she watches the show, I would think she would recognize.
Yeah, I mean,
the guy.
he was on a TV show she watches. There's no way you wouldn't know. Like if Michael Chiklis sent me a friend request on Facebook, I wouldn't be like, do I know this guy? Yeah, it's Vic Mackey from The Shield, which was one of my favorite shows, right?
So that led into a whole nother conversation of, oh, you have a type? Like, it's shocking as a mom to find out that your child, who, is an adult, is out there and, well, what is your type? That I had to ask her. And then I was very curious.
Did she tell you?
A little.
What'd she tell you?
I'm not going into that. That's her personal stuff. That's not about me.
Oh, now you're concerned about people's personal stuff. 5 minutes into the sec. All right, fine.
But then I'm wondering, as the parent, I want to know what her dating profile looks like because I'm sure it's completely on the.
You got one of these, right? You got this thing.
I'm not going to stalk her though, but I'm like,
it's not. You've got the thing. Can you look someone up?
Okay, so you can't really look someone up, but you can change your location. So I mean,
but if you like if you know whatever her name is,
because you can only see people in your area.
Oh, it's geographical,
right?
So you could get some sort of VPN thing, and you could be in the greater Baltimore
seems like a really big
area.
project.
No, it'd be great for the show. That'd be hilarious for you to see this thing and see whatever interpretation, like what in your mind, if it matches whatever you. This would be a great thing for the show. You guys have to arrange however this is done. But he hit on a bigger point, which is their dating is crap now because this guy, like if she'd have met him in a bar, she might have engaged in a conversation.
Where she may not have.
Yeah, but it's an in-person, it's an in-person thing.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of
guys,
you
know, you get a vibe off of people. There's no way.
You get that from a picture.
Yeah. I mean, this guy could have bullcrapped his way into her heart, you know?
Yeah, I think generally speaking, I think people are more attractive in real life.
Or less.
I think. Or less. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Yeah, it can go either way, but, I feel like the personality makes a difference.
I was a solid 9 in person, and it would take them several months to figure it out. On the internet, I'm about like a 3.
On the internet, you're something else.
I mean, if I'd have had to survive in this modern era, it wouldn't have been as fraction as successful.
Kevin, how often do you check it? Are you like on there daily? Is that like what's going on over there? Or is it just you get when an alert happens?
I take breaks from it, so I haven't used it in over a week. But when I was using it, I would check it daily.
Okay, so you guys got to get together. We got to go to a break. But you guys got to get together. We got to set this up because I want to know your impression of seeing her profile or whatever it's called.
I'm just curious about the app altogether.
Yeah, I'd love to know.
You should download it on your phone. See what happens.
I'm married, Casey. What am I going to do with this
trouble,
thing?
I think.
You're getting me in trouble. I'm going to get you in trouble. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
It's now or never. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Today is the deadline for federal workers to accept the Trump administration's offer to pay them through September if they agree to resign this month. Reports indicate that as of Wednesday, over 40,000 federal employees have accepted the deal. That's about 2% of the federal civilian workforce. The buyout is an effort by the Department of Government Efficiency to trim the federal workforce. 2024 was a big year for tourism in Indianapolis, and Mayor Joe Hogsett says there's even more to look forward to this year.
Our momentum as we step into 2025 is undeniable.
Mayor Hogsett was at Visit Indy's tourism event Wednesday at the Indiana Convention Center. He talked about how the WWE Royal Rumble brought over 70,000 fans to the city last week. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly
when compared to their ACA plan. You know it's still Obamacare, right? We've recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with two of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what the heck do you have to lose? We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Call Ron or Terry at 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868. Or go to rragency.org. That's rragency.org. A health plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Dads happen. There's a whole lot of stuff that can mess up the look of your vehicle. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal. PDR is paintless dent removal that saves your factory finish and is way less invasive than traditional body shop repairs. And it's faster too, sometimes same day. Google Kill a Dent Removal and check out the reviews and photos. Then schedule your repair. Hail baseballs, kids, fender benders, shopping carts, flying cows, angry X's, and anything else that leaves dents. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal.
Boy, howdy, did this time out perfect. We just did a segment on how hard it is to meet people and how many relationships are failed. And now I can tell you about Life Church and their marriage conference that's coming up February 21st and 22nd at their Noblesville campus. This is a really great thing. It's an opportunity for you to invest in your marriage with a date weekend that's going to show great return in your relationship. You know, having a lifelong marriage is possible with intentionality and commitment. Life Church is awesome, man. They've had such a great impact on my life and my family's life. And you can learn everything for yourself, whether it's about their 4 campuses across central Indiana or their online services or the marriage conference. Get off the internet and get to the marriage conference. LifeChurchIN.com.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. That's 800-948-1659.
Feeling the aches and pains of everyday life slowing you down? Introducing Blue Emu, America's #1 emu oil formula for pain relief. In a recent clinical trial, 91% of users saw improvement after using Blue Emu. Whether you're working hard, playing harder, or just staying active, Blue Emu penetrates deep to relieve joint and muscle pain fast. And best of all, you won't stink. Join the 91% who felt the difference. Find Blue Emu at your local retailer or online. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
Are you still thinking about what to get her this Valentine's Day? Make that special gift last forever and surprise her with a gift from Pierce Jewelers. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
To serve who just well, turn your back on us when we need some help. It's obvious you only care about yourselves. Everybody
It's a trucker and a rapper.
It's an original.
He could be what sets this property tax bill across the finish line. Trucker John.
Yeah,
that's a banger that'll move the needle.
Can you?
That's a classic.
Can you imagine if a trucker / rapper was the decider? Like he united a state for property tax reform?
He'd be awesome. Even more famous. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. I wonder if he'll choose a different beat to lay down a track in this stew.
Honestly, I might even be able to cook something up.
I love that.
Someone in the chat mentioned Raju. Featuring Raju on the beat, too.
You could get Raju in on that one as well.
Yeah, he can sing the hook.
Yep.
All right, so it's been kind of a fun day today. Every hour, we've taken a dump on the mayor of Carmel, and that's because she took a dump on the taxpayers of this state at her disgustingly pathetic Senate Bill 1 hearing testimony, where she basically made you believe that you were in some way going to be harming humanity if you get any sort of property tax reform. And of course, we've been reading some of the finances and the amount of just a disgustingly large amount of money that is flowing into the Carmel city coffers on a yearly basis, of plenty of money, obviously, to pay rank and file policemen and firemen and et cetera. And I hope that was sort of what some of the people took away from this, was that there's plenty of money. It's the same thing that trustee told us last week. And no matter how much money you give these people, it won't be enough. And it's so gross that not only do they just not own that they believe they're entitled to your stuff, then they try to make you feel bad about going, I think you can be more efficient with managing my money and maybe kick a few bucks back to me in the process.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's also the point that she said that this is so early on in the process that she doesn't have anything specific.
Yeah, I don't know
that it would impact.
And that was interesting, wasn't it? Because
other than a generalization to say, fire, please.
Yeah,
safely.
well, I mean, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, whatever it's been now, Mike Braun sat in that chair right next to us and said, okay, I'm the Republican nominee for governor. I'm the likely governor. Here's my property tax plan. Here's what it's going to do. He's never wavered off of it. It's never changed. She has had ample time to figure out what that might, quote unquote, cost her city government, and how to have answers on here's what. Do you notice with most of these people, too, these local government people, they don't want the challenge. They don't want the challenge of helping you. None of them are standing up going, this is great. I look forward to putting more money back in the pockets of my citizens. All they do is bitch and moan and whine and complain and put these dour doomsday scenarios out there that they try to make you feel like garbage for wanting to be able to afford to live in your home.
One of the budget priorities listed is to maintain overall reserves of just over 15%. So there's a chart, and they say that they've got $23 million in combined reserves, and part of that, it's like over $13 million, is for the rainy day fund. To weather any future economic downturns. But the graph, you can tell, it goes up to $25 million. So the goal is to have $25 million in reserves.
And look,
to keep going.
You can extrapolate this out to almost any of your major suburban cities or towns. We're having fun with the mayor of Carmel today because, one, she got up in front of that committee and said all this stuff, so we're going to take her to task for that. And two, she got lippy last night on social media about it because I was told by a very reliable source. By the way, Sue, you got people in your administration that like to talk, so there you go. How about that? Figure out who it was. About what a bad day Spendin' Sue had yesterday over the fact that we publicly pointed out all these flaws in her testimony. Mm-hmm. And how much money is actually in that city, and how she could do it if she wants to do it. But you can apply this to Noblesville. You can apply it to Westfield. You can apply it to Greenwood. You pick any of these places, and there's plenty of money. They don't want you to have your money back because your money is control. When we cut away all the crap on this, that's what this is about. Money is power. Taxes are power. Taxes are control. And these local government people don't want to surrender the power or control they have over you.
She said we're talking about hypotheticals. There's a bill that they want to pass. That's not hypothetical anymore.
Hey, there's a big event coming up, 3 events actually coming up in April, and I gotta pick your brain, Casey, on if I should go to one of these.
Okay. We'll talk about it next. It's 93 WIBC.
To serve who just well, turn your back on us when we need some help. It's obvious you only care about yourselves. Everybody wake up, I got a story to tell.
Hammer and Nigel show back at it on a Thursday, 3:06. The biggest stories of the day. Rob Kendall, he's going to flip out, go off the rails. We're talking property taxes and more. 93 WIBC.
Jewelry Gram. It's your friends at Shane Company, here to remind you that Valentine's Day is Friday, February 14th. It's the most romantic day of the year to give and get fine jewelry. We have expertly crafted gifts for every type of sweetheart. For the one, we'll help you propose with the dream engagement ring. Come see our wide selection of hand-picked natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes. In stock and ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Or maybe you'll fall in love with the natural, colorful gemstone. At Shane Company, we're known for our sapphires in every color of the rainbow. We have options for every style and budget. Get creative and design a custom necklace with meaningful charms, including 14-karat gold letters, engravable hearts, and birthstones. Our mother-of-pearl heart-shaped collection makes a perfect gift that's ready to give. At Shane Company, love is always in the air with our unmatched free lifetime warranty, everyday competitive prices, and no-pressure shopping experience. Come see us in-store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This Valentine's Day, the perfect gift is at PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms in Brownsburg. You're going to find that one-of-a-kind piece without breaking the bank. Unique vintage pieces of jewelry dating back to the 1800s. One-of-a-kind pieces from local jewelers. And they also have those wow factor diamonds if you're looking to make this Valentine's Day something special. A big jewelry selection without the big jewelry price. It's more than a kiss. 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg. 317-858-3030 online at premierarms.com.
Howard Bailey Financial is now in Carmel on Rangeline Road. For over 20 years, we've helped people navigate their retirement journeys, and now we're bringing our experience closer to home. Visit retirecarmel.com to schedule your appointment or text Carmel to 888-262-1104 to download a free retirement resource. Together, let's build the retirement you deserve. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. The best dealers in the region will be at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. For more info, visit centralindianagunshows.com.
Bands are us when dreams don't get in. Bands are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 765-545-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 765-545-BATH.
Bands are us when dreams don't get in. Bands are us.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center. Our multidisciplinary care team will guide you every step along the way.
It was very overwhelming at first, but I found this whole community of people who are understanding and just very supportive. So I have a lot of thankfulness and gratefulness for who I am through this and after this.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
The 30th Annual Indiana Motorcycle and Power Sports Expo is back and better than ever. February 14th through 16th and 19th through 23rd at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Featuring the Midwest's largest selection of motorcycles, side-by-sides, ATVs, gear, accessories, and more. Plus, Bikers Showcase, Tiny Tots Riding Adventure, and the pioneers of Hoosier motorcycling. Your ticket also includes admission to the Ford Indianapolis Boat Sport and Travel Show. Visit IndySportShow.com, another Renfro production.
Stop putting up with lousy well water. You just can't find anybody better than the pros at C&J. Great systems and great people, too. Call C&J at 317-852-WELL.
The Home and Garden Show is back on the road this Saturday at the Suburban Indy Home Show at Grand Park Event Center in Westfield. Join the live broadcast from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and browse the creations of some of the top Suburban Indy outdoor space designers for your home. More info at WIBC.com.
Senators, congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't block up the hall.
Casey, I've got a conundrum.
What's that, Rob?
Well, all right. So
are you tangled up in blue?
I have, I have a handful of people that are sort of like my Mount Rushmore of musical influences, and it's Bruce Springsteen and Jackson Browne and Harry Chapin and Dan Fogelberg, and one of them is I've already gone through 4, so it'd be
more than a Mount Rushmore. But one of them is Bob Dylan.
Right.
And I've got to say, I've never been to a Bob Dylan concert.
I'm surprised that Bob Dylan is still touring, honestly.
Well, he's in his 80s. He's got to be in his, I would guess he's 83 or 84. I'll look it up here real quick. I would guess he's got to be, because I remember 20 years ago realizing that he was in his 60s, and that sounded ancient back then.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan. All right, what are you going with? Bob Dylan age. I'll say he's 84 years old. What do you say?
I'm going
Bob
to
Dylan
say
age?
he was born in 1946, so he's going to be, 79?
Well, you were wronger than me.
Oh.
But you would win the Price is Right showdown because I went over. He's 83 years old.
83?
He'll be 84 this year.
Okay.
In May of this year, he'll be 84. In May of this year, he'll be 84. But I've never been, even though he's one of my all-time, there's a window of Dylan. This is the thing about Dylan, is like his window was relatively small in terms of he comes on the scene, he makes this incredible influence. He's doing all these one great album after another from like 1962 to say 68 or 69. And then he had one other really great album, which was Blood on the Tracks. I think that was 75. And then that was it. And he's this legendary figure.
Well, he's very influential.
But his actual window of contribution to sort of mainstream music is relatively small.
I don't know if I would ever consider Bob Dylan as mainstream music.
Oh,
he was counterculture.
Yeah, but like a Rolling Stone, all that stuff was totally. I mean, he was one of the biggest artists in the world there for that window. But I've never been to a Bob Dylan concert because couple reasons. One, I have always found his live act a little bizarro because he's so, like, his music, I've always found it fine in terms of I'm making an album, but like his live stuff that I've heard, he sounds like such garbage that some of his live stuff is hard to even.
Yeah, so if you do go see him in concert, what are you going to get?
Yeah, and the other thing is, when you look at his set list, and this has been true for years, he plays tons of obscure stuff that unless you're like a really hardcore fan.
So you're not getting Subterranean Homesick.
Sometimes
you're not getting Tangled Up in Blue.
But of like 18 songs or 20 songs, there's like 4 or 5 where you'd go, the average person would know that song. That seems like a lot of really deep stuff to sit through unless you're a super duper duper fan.
I would think you'd have to be a super duper fan if you're going to go to see him in concert, because at 83 years old, his performance level cannot be what it was when he was on the scene in the 60s.
Now, the Stones are still going, and they're close to that age, but it's still kind of the Rolling Stones concert. Mick Jagger is still going to have
jumping around on stage,
26-inch waist, and he's going to be rolling around.
Which is surprising based on all the drugs, right?
Well, Keith Richards is still with us, and Ron Wood, and I mean, but the point is, like,
physically anyway,
it's largely a guy like doodling around at a keyboard at this point with the band behind him. My point of all this is Bob Dylan's got a new tour this spring. It starts in March, and he's going to be doing not 1, not 2, but 3 shows in Indiana in April as a part of that tour.
Yeah, he's going to be in West Lafayette. He's going to be on Purdue's campus at the Elliott Hall of Music. And then he's also going to be in South Bend and in Fort Wayne. I'm really curious as to where he's going to be playing in South Bend.
So I've got this. It's the Morris Performing Arts Center.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's right downtown.
So you're familiar with this venue.
Very, very familiar with the venue.
No Indianapolis shows, which is a little odd.
That would be like playing at the Murat.
Okay. Yeah.
That sort of size.
Right. But no Indianapolis.
It's not Gamebridge. It's not Lucas.
Which tells you maybe he doesn't feel he can sell enough tickets to warrant doing an Indianapolis show anymore. Because like some of these, now he's in Pittsburgh, but some of these other places are Peoria,
Kalamazoo,
Davenport.
Toledo.
Yeah. So anyway,
maybe he intentionally wanted to do smaller cities.
You got
a small city tour.
Well, I have a friend who actually played on a tour with Dylan. I won't name this person, but they played on a tour with Dylan years ago. They were not a part of Dylan's band, but they were on the tour, and they said it was like they were a huge Dylan fan. They got to meet him, and they said it was a little underwhelming, and this was, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever.
You think?
So it didn't live up to the expectation. I've always, and Kevin and I have had this conversation before. I was a super Dylan fan because obviously he had a big influence on Springsteen, and then he gave an interview with Ed Bradley in 2004 on 60 Minutes. He had, I think it was an autobiography comes out. And so obviously they're doing the tour, the media tour to try to promote this. And he's so basically like disinterested in this interview. And at one point, Ed Bradley is kind of trying to lay out to him, like, you wrote all these songs and they meant all this stuff to all these people.
Yeah.
And, I'm obviously not quoting him directly, but it's like, that's got to be, pretty flattering to know you did all this stuff and you changed the kind of the culture and the world in a sense. And he basically said something like, yeah, it meant that to them. It didn't mean that to me. I just kind of wrote the words down. And I was like, how do I get super behind? It kind of ruined the experience for me because, like, how do I get invested in something where the guy who wrote the stuff is so just...
Do you think maybe he was just being humble?
No, I think the guy's an ass. I think he's a sort of a tortured soul, and I think he just doesn't appreciate what he meant and all he had. And I just, from then, that's when you can't completely uncheck out once music's meant something to you. And there's some really great stuff, especially in the early 60s that he did. But it's like, ooh, I don't know. It's kind of hard to invest in a guy that really is that
not even impressed with himself. Well, I don't know. I mean, he's been singing the same songs for so many years.
Yeah.
There could be a high level of burnout or just the interview process, answering the same questions over and over. It's like something I did,
Then don't do the thing.
60 years ago.
He's not giving any of the money back.
That's true.
You notice anytime these artists lament anything, they don't give any of the money back. They always keep all the stuff for themselves,
well,
right?
You got to wonder if he's doing these smaller cities because he doesn't want to invest financially in the tour. Like, it takes less people to put it on, less travel expense. I mean, he's not going to be paying as much for where he's staying, hypothetically.
So the big question is, I'm not even sure I'd want to go if it was here. But I can't drive all the way to South Bend or Fort Wayne or even Lafayette. I mean, that's a day's excursion, right?
You sure you don't want to go up to South Bend with me? I'll give you the grand tour.
Oh, man.
We can go up to Notre Dame. Have you ever been to Notre Dame?
I have been.
Oh, that's right. You've been to South Bend. You were highly unimpressed with the fireworks and cigarette stores that greet you
well, I said in
as
fairness,
you enter that fair city.
In fairness, you go because, oh my gosh, there's this wonderful football stadium and community there, and you want to see it. And coming in on 31, it looks like something out of an episode of Cops, right? So
they did close the Torch, which is no longer there.
Was that the Gentleman's Club?
It is, yeah. I don't believe the Glowworm's open anymore either. Now, if you go to Fort Wayne, you could go to Showgirls 1, 2, or 3.
I love that you know all of the local establishments. How is that? Why is that a thing? Why do you know all these places?
That is a good question. Why do I know all these things? But in regards to Bob Dylan, he did have a lot of hits. Blowing in the Wind, Knocking on Heaven's Door, Mr. Tambourine Man, Lay, Lady, Lay. What do you think was your favorite? Do you have a favorite? The times they are a-changing.
I love Shelter from the Storm, which is off Blood on the Tracks. I think anything off the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan is phenomenal. Like I said, there's like a 7 or 8 year window where there's tons of great stuff. So I don't know. I'm leaning towards no, but I could be convinced, Casey, if we do some sort of road trip that I might be interested in doing. I'd have to abandon my family for a day.
They can come.
Yes, that's
you could leave the baby with your dad.
Oh, a whole day. He'd just love that.
We'll do just a little road trip.
Yes.
Gabrielle, tell her to pack a bag.
Yeah.
We'll stay at some seedy motel. You know what? We could even stay in the Coco Motel. It's halfway, right?
Oh, how exciting.
Am I selling it?
I think I'll
Sounds great, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be busy those days. All right, we got to go.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for listening today. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back?
back. If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
If you're drowning in unresolved tax debt, know this. The IRS can place a lien on your home, garnish your paycheck, and levy your bank account. That's catastrophe for you.
We interrupt this message to bring you some good news about your tax debt. We're TaxRise, experienced tax professionals who can help